Well, ain't that just some good timing with the music there? Hi, everybody. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Travis, Super Trav, Travioli if you're feeling spicy. This is TravTalks. TravTalks is a touch different from what I normally do. And a lot of the times, what I try and do is I try and do a lot of goofy stuff. I try and play games that make me laugh, except when they're super serious, and then I have to like do my best to make myself laugh. But what we do around here is we do a little bit of mental health talks, a little bit of content creation talks. It kind of spans all over the world in terms of subjects from things like self-discovery, sexuality, all types of things like that. Now, this is kind of my mini trigger warning in a sense that there are sometimes topics that get brought up that are a little hard to talk about or maybe even listen to. And if that's the case, always take care of yourself first. Like don't worry about me or the stream or anything like that. It is going to be okay. You need to take care of yourself specifically. So tonight we have a guest that I actually know IRL. Isn't that weird? I have a guest that we are IRL friends. However, we don't live in the same place anymore, which is a big old bummer. But and even if we did, we'd be 45 minutes away from each other because I don't know if any of you have ever been to Portland, Oregon. But Portland's about 25 minutes away from Portland. So it's impossible to get anywhere if you've ever. It's awful. So I want you to introduce yourself, voice in the sky, aka Ty. Are you there?
Hello.
Oh my
God. I'm chuckling about your 25 minutes from Portland joke because god dang are you absolutely hitting the nail on the head right there.
Don't I know it, dude?
Oh, it's not even that big, but it's just the fuck.
Dude, it's awful. And I just like it's just not designed for the amount of people that are there.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. We used to live on the west side, me and my spouse, and just to go over to the east side to hang out with friends. To go over one bridge, it took like 45 minutes to an hour. And it's like, how does this happen?
You're like, yeah, I gotta make sure the dog is fed because we're gonna be gone all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hi, bud.
Well, hello. How you doing?
It's good. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. A little nervous for this, surprisingly.
Oh, I don't think you should be at all.
I mean, I probably won't be as after we actually finally started getting into like more conversation, but all day today I think I was psyching it up in my head a little bit, being like, this is so much different than everything else that I've ever done on content creation, so it's gonna be very interesting.
That's fair. Just be prepared because there are 10,000 people watching you.
they're all out there. Oh my gosh.
They're all there.
My neighbors are listening through the walls.
No, they're not. These walls specifically, this goes into the hallway and that goes outside.
To be fair,
that's a window.
Like, we only have the one downstairs neighbor, so I think they maybe can hear when I yell and scream and shit like that.
It's fair. But... I mean, assuming you're not like doing like double bass all night.
No. It's just like when I yell at a video game or something like that.
Just blast beating all night.
Yeah. Just fucking just going at it.
Legs going. But yeah, I am happy to have you on here. I know that you and I in real life have talked about some things here and there, but I think getting to know you not only like as a IRL person, but as a content creator is going to be kind of exciting for me, which is kind of why I wanted to do this as one of the things.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those things because it's like I think we started getting a little bit closer right before you left back to Colorado.
Yeah.
So that's when we were talking a little bit more, and then I was like so sad. I was like, oh shit, Trav's leaving. Like we were just like finally kind of getting into like the friends territory and everything, and actually kind of like growing like a little bit and like talking to each other in a little bit more of a personal level rather than it just being kind of like a surface level. I would see you at karaoke every once in a while.
Yeah.
Of a thing. So it was kind of sad. But then after you left, like obviously you kept doing the content creation and stuff like that. So I was glad I was able to like kind of keep in touch, because I've had so many friends that have left, or like different states or different cities, even stuff like that. And it's like, oh, they're immediately out of touch. I don't see them anymore. I don't talk to them anymore, kind of a thing.
Right. And God knows I hardly post on Facebook, so.
Yeah. I've only kept my Facebook mainly to like keep in touch with some old friends, but I'm like, nobody does communicate with me on there, so I've been thinking about deleting it finally.
No, it's family. It's a family thing.
Family.
As
Vin Diesel always told me.
Well, I mean, until he crashed into that barrier, right? Anyway, so one of the things that actually you had brought up that I definitely want to get to at some point was you brought up this thing about the seasons.
Oh yes.
Do you want to like explain that to people who don't know? Because I went in detail and watched the video and stuff like that. But...
Yeah. So you're referencing the CPG Gray video about yearly themes.
Yeah.
It is I'll do a quick little like synopsis of it. I usually rewatch it every like New Year's, because it's essentially kind of a replacement for like a New Year's resolution, essentially. And instead of being like, oh, I'm gonna lose X amount of weight, or I'm gonna go to the gym, these like things that you'll feasibly do for maybe about a month or two, and then just like kind of cut it cold turkey, because that's typically how that's always happened in my personal experience with resolution, is like I'll never finish them by the end of the year. Whereas a yearly theme is just kind of like you pick a general like a phrase or something that kind of resonates with you, and then throughout the year you try to gear your decisions towards that sort of theme. So like for an example, my theme from last year was reflection. So a lot of my decisions that I was doing a lot of inward reflection, a lot of external reflection last year, and just kind of figuring out where I was in basically on the earth all last year, and then things like that. So that's kind of what the general 10-second synopsis is of your yearly theme.
Yeah. When did you like stumble across this? Like, how do you just kind of find this?
Funny enough, like I never watched the video until maybe like a year or so ago. My friend Lainey actually brought it up, and was just like, yeah, I think she brought it up last year even at this, and then she brought it up again with me this year. She's like, yeah, I do yearly themes, and I was like, what the heck is a yearly theme, and what does that mean? Like, are you just thematically changing your room up, or are you doing something like you're now pink this year or something like that?
Say it's like an album cycle, like. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, oh, I'm no longer listening to pop punk this year, I'm listening to death metal this year. It's like, what does it really mean?
Both valid options.
Yeah, both valid options, absolutely. I think I'm in the pop punk era right now again for this year. I've been listening to so much Paramore. It's been great.
Oh, that is a good choice.
Yeah, so she just kind of went into depth about it, and was just like, watch this video. He explains it really well as well. And it's just kind of like a way to put your mind in a certain mindset for the entire year, rather than it being like specifically focused on a goal. And it also leaves room for like openness too, where it's just like, well, maybe this decision that you made or this thing that you didn't actually resonate with your theme. Okay, why did that happen? How did that kind of come about, and why did it kind of veer off from the theme?
Right.
And it kind of just is like a guiding principle, essentially, just for a year. The next year comes along, you make up a new one, and then you just go off of that one afterwards.
Now, do you feel like, and maybe this is your own take on it, but does it have to be like kind of like a heady theme, kind of like that, like a reflection year and a year of experimentation? Like what is there like a rule set for this?
No, not really. I would say it's really just anything that kind of resonates with you, or something that you maybe generally like want to focus on. So like a good example is like people will sometimes just do a year of reading, and it's like, in a sense, it's not like giving a number for like, oh, I want to read X amount of books by the end of the year. It's more of just like, if I finish 2 books, if I finish 1 book, if I finish 20 books, it's still my main driving focus of being like I want to try to read a little bit more this year.
Yeah.
So it could be as simple as that. It could also just be as heavy as like, oh, I'm gonna do full on reflections, or I'm
Right.
gonna do a year of health. So I'm gonna be healthier. I'm gonna eat healthier. Those kind of things. There's really like no like set rule set for it. It's just really anything that just kind of resonates with you and just kind of sticks with you.
Okay. Okay. So I like that idea because it's kind of what it reminds me of specifically, and what it reminded me of the first time I like watched the video you sent me and stuff was the like kind of it's a growth mindset
Mm-hmm.
with wiggle room almost. And because I'm growing in any way possible. It could be reading, right? I could just be reading more books. I could become a little more literate. I could become, interested in this new topic, and all of a sudden I'm picking up all these books from from Powell's. We have a similar place here. It's called the Tattered Cover. It's pretty much the same thing.
Ooh, I do love me a good bookstore.
It's 4 stories. It's like a city block.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's huge. But it's very Powell's reminiscent.
Yeah.
Powell's coded. Anyway.
Powell's coded. Powell's based.
It's it. Yeah, it's this idea of creating a change for yourself in growth in whatever form that takes, while also being like, yes, this is my year of health, but I had a really, really hard day, and a Frosty from Wendy's sounds incredible right now.
Yeah.
And like allowing yourself to be like, yes, it is my year of health, and that's actually going to help my health because I'm going to not feel so bad.
I was just about to say, like, that could still tie into like your year of health as well, because it's like I'm trying to maintain a healthy mindset. So it's like, yeah, I have a bad day. This Frosty, I think, is going to be the thing that really helps my mental health in this regard. So it's not just like, oh, I'm just only focusing on the negatives. I'm still focusing on a positive out of a thing that technically almost like against my theme, and in like a surface level kind of a way.
Sure. Because I feel like people, I mean, I know we all kind of hold ourselves pretty loosely to New Year's resolutions, those who actually do them. And I feel like other people end up judging us harder for them than like we do,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
They're
it's
definitely
yeah.
They're definitely a New Year's resolutions, and anybody who does them, like, you can do them all you want, and especially if you're really good at them, or if you're like really
Right.
bad at them, there's still definitely
Right.
a learning process with New Year's resolutions. But they definitely are like this is my resolution. If it always felt like this to me anyway. This is my resolution. Somebody be proud of me, kind of a thing. Even if I don't do the resolution,
Right.
look at what I'm gonna do. Right? Like this is my placard. Take a look at it.
Oh,
And
okay.
it just never really like resonated, and that's kind of I think how New Year's resolutions never worked for me. I would get the gym membership. I'd be like, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds in the first month. I'm gonna lose,
Ooh,
and then I'm
that's
gonna
a lot.
maintain that weight or whatever. Like throughout the whole year, I'm gonna be a healthy weight. And then it's like, no, I would go to the gym like 3 times, and then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go binge something on Netflix and eat a bag of whole fucking Cheetos. So,
I can get down on Cheetos. I'm a Puffs guy personally.
oh, me too.
Oh, you
You ever take the puff? This is a weird thing that I do, and I do this with chocolate too. You ever take the puff and you just like suck on it? Like you just like put it in your mouth and go until like fully dissolves?
Yes.
Am I weird like that?
I didn't want to admit that.
I do that with chocolate too. I'll just like have it there. I'm like,
Till it like melts.
yeah, till it melts.
And I don't think I do that with chocolate as much, but granted, I can't have as much chocolate because they process with peanuts and shit. But
Yeah.
definitely have done it with the Cheetos Puffs specifically.
Yeah, I don't know. I've done that every so often, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna. It's like the same thing with like cotton candy. I let it like fully dissolve before like.
That's just sugar, so it's gonna dissolve.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen regardless of if you want it to or not.
Mm-hmm.
If you chew cotton candy, I worry for you.
I'm a little worried myself for it.
Yeah, but I like this idea. Cause yeah, I mean, we kind of live in this age a little bit of like, we want like validation. Like we have like, I have like, I'm gonna pull out my placard when I'm on top of the mountain and make sure my friend takes a picture of me and it says how many elevation. This is super common here in Colorado specifically, but like I'm on Mount Bierstadt and it's 14,219 feet and everybody fucking knows that. but we live in this age of like validation.
Yeah.
And like you said with the New Year's resolutions, yeah. Like I've been to the gym like 4 times this week. It's like, oh my God, good for you. And you're like, you get that validation. And I think, I mean, maybe this is my thinking around like social media specifically. And it's weird to say that to another content creator.
No, I was actually just thinking about that in my head. I was like, I think it is, a lot of it is rooted in numbers in a weird sense.
Right.
You post it online, you're looking for those numbers, you're trying to get like, oh, I'm gonna get like 15 or whatever, how many X likes on this, and it's like, oh, I'm feeling great. And then you try to do more of that and you try to like bring it up again and you get less and less, so then you're less inclined to do it, which is where I think like New Year's resolutions, like specifically with like the gym and things like that, kind of fall off for people, because it's like they get that upfront validation, like, you've been to the gym 4 times this week, congratulations buddy. You go to the gym 4 times next week, less people say so. Less people will be like, well, cool, I guess, instead of it being like 10 people, you only have 2 people, and then that makes you kind of wean off of it, and you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore because people are not noticing, essentially.
I do feel like that ties in super well to the content creation thing of how do you mix it up while also staying like to like the thing you're known for almost.
Yeah.
Because like for a lot of people, it can take like just one mega viral hit and they are all of a sudden thrust into this world of content creation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people, I mean, a lot of people take it. I won't say everybody. Just as like a good example, Aaron, Mom Without a Soul, has one TikTok that has like 1 billion views and like 1 million and like 10 million likes or whatever. And she was just like, no, I'm not doing it.
No.
Which like the temptation would be strong there.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's a little bit different though too, because it's like, I guess depending on when that TikTok was made, I don't know if I've ever seen it at all, Mom, but obviously she's a mom, so she's got a lot of other things on her plate all the time. So I would probably do the same if I was in her shoes as well.
No doubt. And it was just like it was like a hair tie hack, and it was just like cool, like
dope.
cool hack. And I wonder, and I've never asked about it, but I feel like there would be a pressure to like, okay, well, if that hack worked out really well, like how can I show more, and how can I do the same thing? And like, and I tell this because I think it's hilarious, is my best performing TikTok was a joke I thought of in 10 seconds, like, and I filmed it twice because I messed up the first time, and like and that was it. That was the entire that was my best performing TikTok. And I'm like, I've like literally like wrote scripts for previous TikToks I didn't do as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing?
I think it's just like capturing lightning in a bottle, essentially.
Sometimes
it's like, I mean, it could literally just be like the climate of the day. It could be the time of the day. It could be how long it was, how short it, or like how short it was, or anything like that. It is one of those things where it's just like you can play the algorithm as close to the heart as you possibly can, but it's like at the end of the day, it's still just going to be a fucking random throwing a knife at the wall and seeing which one sticks, essentially.
Would you like, are you an algorithm kind of follower? Do you try and study it at all?
Really, I know it on like a kind of very base level, specifically more like towards like YouTube and things like that. Like I know that there's generally a right time to post videos, like a right time to upload videos. Because generally like that's when people are watching, and that's when people are going to see it more likely in their discovery feed. As far as like getting on trending and things like that, I don't really know too much. I know it's like everything's more favored towards either like if you're a video game content creator, things are either geared towards like being very retro or being very modern. It's like no in between, where it's like unless you just already have that following, people are not going to stick around for the things that are in between the retro and between the very modern. So it's like you either have to shill out the money for the very modern new games that are coming out and immediately like get in there right away, or you're going back and playing like really really old games that people would like consider retro nowadays.
Okay, and then that's an interesting thought too, because like I wonder if that's also an age thing, because what you and I probably consider retro is like Super Nintendo, NES, Sega Genesis style. But like some people are like, retro? You mean like PS2? And you're like, huh? But like also
but like also that is exactly what it is.
Like people are like starting to throw like Final Fantasy X into the retro category.
Which is bananas.
Which came out in like 2001. And I'm like,
that game was around like when I was a wee little lad. I was playing that game.
What do you mean it's retro?
What do you mean that's retro?
Yeah, and it's
somebody was telling me, oh god, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was telling me that they were like, oh dang, like Dark Souls is retro now, and I was like, what the fuck? You get the fuck out of here, you go home.
Retro?
Please. Yeah, like it's like I don't know, people have like a weird I think you're right though. I think it depends on the age, and I think it depends on the person, but people have like a different concept of what retro is. And I think some of it is like, was it made like over 10 years ago, or was it like made over 15 years ago? And then some people are just like, oh, was it made yet when I was born? I guess I don't really know.
Okay, that's fair. What do we call retro then? Is it like, do we have like retro is like anything 10 to 20 years old, and then 20 to 30 is like retro plus? Like
it's retro plus.
And then like
I don't know.
And then like games like the Atari and shit like that, that's just like geriatric. Like, well, that's
just ancient.
Yeah. How do we?
I mean, like when you think about the Roman Empire and you think about the Atari 2600, they're basically the same fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, they came out at the same time.
It's pretty. Yeah. I mean, they were building pillars and also these indestructible machines.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I feel like retro, to me at least, is like anything, I guess, pre the new millennium. Like I think pre 2000 is probably retro nowadays in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So that can include some of the things like on PlayStation. Well, PlayStation 2 was 2001, I think, when it came out.
2000, I believe it came out.
Was it 2000? So yeah, basically like pre PlayStation 2 I feel like is retro. But I guess to some people probably like 15-20 years would be retro. So anything in like 2004 could be considered retro for them.
Yeah, that's wild. I was talking about this with my folks the other day. Is they were saying stuff that came out like 20 years ago is like 2004, and it's weird to think about. But then I think about like the clients that I work with and how my youngest client was born in 2017, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. So fun fact is like I don't really get the feeling of feeling old sometimes. I joke around and mess around with like that notion that it's like, oh my god, you just said this, oh I'm so old, my back just started hurting.
Yeah.
But there's specifically I work and I need to look at people's identification for my work, and I'll see people that had like just turned or are turning 18 this year, and I'm just like, you fucking your thing says like 2007 2004 you were born, and I'm like, oh no, no, that makes me feel old.
Yeah, they were born post 9/11.
Post 9/11, which is so bizarre to think about because that day is such a vivid memory of mine now. That's like, people are drinking nowadays. They can legally drink who weren't there, who
weren't alive for it.
It's like, that blows my mind that's happening?
That's where we're
It's
at.
fucking weird. That's fucking weird. God.
Yeah, it's such a interesting like concept of time, and that's why the seasons thing that you talked about, the year of or the seasons.
Yeah.
Because it also broke it down in the video, I think, by like you could make it a season of this, and then you could change it, and it could be a season of, this is my season of water, so I'm going to be drinking a lot of water and going into lakes and whatever.
Yeah. No,
Or on
I like the idea of the seasons one, but I also just kind of like the idea of having just the one guiding principle for like my entire year, and that is something that's a little bit more like vague and like subjective, to where it's like it can morph throughout the year. So I guess in a sense, kind of changing it with the seasons, but I do like the idea of it being like, this is my season of water, this is my season of the sun or something like that, and I'm just getting out and getting more sun. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. Or like that could be as simple as like I'm drinking on the patio.
Yep. Easy.
Doesn't have to be this life-altering thing. Which is also another thing that like goes against that idea originally, I guess, of New Year's resolutions, which is like resolutions are supposed to be this kind of big life change. Like the gym. If you don't go to the gym regularly and then you start going 4 times a week, you're gonna fucking feel it, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, like you gotta change your schedule around.
Yeah, it's always been that way with like New Year's resolutions, where it's like you're not liking a particular path that you're going down, or you're not liking a particular aspect of yourself, so you feel like there's got to be a drastic change.
Right.
And I don't know about like your experience or anybody else's experiences in chat, but it's like whenever I've tried to like just do a rapid change like that, I immediately like fall off. I'll do like 2 weeks of it, and then I'm like Dunzerino. You can't just like, for a lack of better phrase, you can't just shoot your load like that, like all at once, and then just hope to keep going. You gotta take it slow.
It's
gotta
an accurate
goon it
phrase.
a little bit.
It's an accurate phrase. I was gonna say edge it. Yeah, it's a very accurate kind of style of like, I gotta get here. I like I keep going back to the gym because it's kind of the most common
example.
Example.
Most cliche one. Yeah, it's definitely
and it's the most common example. I
cliche.
mean, I was going to the gym practically every day before the new year, and then I actually like took some steps back from the gym because during January the gym sucks.
It does. It really does.
It sucks. There's so many people there. There's a lot of people, and this isn't to like shame anybody, but who don't know what they're doing. And it's like, that's okay that you don't know what you're doing, but you're also not allowing anybody to like help you or guide you, and then that's how a lot of people get hurt, you know?
Yeah.
They're like,
absolutely.
well, I'm a big dude, I could probably lift this hundo, and it's like, nope, you cannot.
Nope. You should get a spotter, please.
You need to grab the belt, or you need to use the easy bar, something.
Yeah.
Use the Smith machine. Use the Smith machine. It's amazing.
I've never been like one for the gym. I've gone a few times to the gym, and in college, the gym on campus was really, really nice. But I've never been like one for the gym, and free. Yeah, if you're a student, it was nice. But I've never been one for like the gym itself, mostly because of those kind of like social stigmas and like weird, just weirdness of the gym. And it's just like, I'm not a very particularly like strong person or anything like that. Like I don't go to the gym or lift weights regularly, so there's always that like kind of feeling of being like, people are probably there who are like super muscular and ready to fucking like rip, roar, root and toot and everything like that, but then they see this like little old me going like, hey, I'm doing my best, everybody, and then they're just like, what the fuck are you here? Get out of here, you piece of garbage.
That sucks that you feel that way.
It just like I don't know, I've always had that kind of feeling with the gym, so I always go to either like a local gym where there's like barely any people there,
right?
Or typically I've always lived in an apartment, so I go to like the little like workout like area that they have in like our leasing office or like the clubhouse or whatever,
where usually nobody is either.
Where nobody is, like I'll be there by myself and I'm like, cool, this is what I need.
I'm sorry that that's
headphones and that's it.
Yeah, I'm sorry that that's your experience. I don't subscribe myself to gym culture by any means, because there's definitely like the gym bros at my at my gym, and that's fine. Like, and they keep to themselves for sure. Granted, I'm also a dude, so they leave me alone. But it's such a sad thing that like the gym becomes like this castle of anxiety for people. And like Shy has had this exact same experience where like she can't go because for her she feels like all eyes are on her the entire time.
Yeah.
Like no matter what's going on, there could be the guys who drop their deadlifts and it clunks, and like she still feels like people are watching her work out. Like the guy dropped the weight to like watch her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's such a feeling of like, yeah, but the reality is, at least the reality that I get to kind of believe in is most people like have their headphones cranked up to fucking 11 and they're not paying attention to those around them, which is why you bump into people all the fucking time.
Nobody gives a shit. I kind of also fall into that trope as well with like similar to Shy, where it's just like I feel like people are just like watching me and like secretly judging me, like I was saying, like what the hell is he doing kind of here,
right?
But yeah, no, that's what it is. It is like 90% just everybody's got headphones in, they're blaring, nobody's really looking at anybody, they're just looking at themselves in the mirror mostly.
Right. And between sets I'm on my phone, you know, like I'm not looking at other people.
Yeah,
I'm either picking a new song or I'm like, all right, I got 45 seconds. What's up on people's stories on Instagram? I don't know.
Yeah, what's happening in the world?
And it's one of those things that becomes such a place of, because everybody is there for a very similar themed reason.
Yeah.
It's all in the name of vanity, but in the most positive way for most people.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely people at the gym who you're like, you're done. You don't need to be here. What are you doing? Like,
yeah, what are you here for?
You are mega hot. Don't worry about it. You go ahead and go home. And
well, even like those people though, I feel like there's like probably a specific thing that is very similar that they're gravitating towards as well. It's like maybe they're like, my butt doesn't really look that good, so I want to work on my butt, so I'm toning the shit out of that. So,
right. It could be maintaining. It could be a mental health thing for them. You know, I use the gym for my mental health because I'm like, I'm not like a massive person, but I kind of like feel a little bit better after I go usually.
Oh yeah. No, actually, one of my friends one of an old friend from college, she actually quit drinking, like went through AA and everything like that, and the way that she kind of like figured out how to maintain her mental health was through working out. And that she still does that to this day, and I'm pretty sure it's like if she didn't find that, she probably would have like fallen back off the bandwagon essentially. Yeah.
Well, good for her. Good for her.
No, seriously, good for her. I was so happy when she told everybody that and was just like, this is what's happening. We're doing this.
No, and I think that's where I like this idea of creating a season of change or a year of change, and change being a very kind of variable word, obviously, because it could be the year of finishing things.
Yeah.
As I'll speak from my experience as an ADHD person, there's plenty of projects I've started
but never finished
because I'm like, well, wait a minute, what about this thing over here?
Yeah, and like what finishing a year of like finishing means to like you could mean something completely different to another person. Maybe it's like they finish I don't know, like they're planning or they're wanting to like do things and being like actually seeing it as like a finality kind of a thing where it's just like, okay, I plan on going on this trip or whatever, and actually seeing it through and then doing the whole trip. That could be related to a year of finishing essentially. So they're very like loose in that regard. They're not like, it doesn't mean like I need to finish all my projects. It's like maybe I just have this one thing that I'm like sort of working on and I want to finish it.
Right. And it can be it can be a variable for everybody, which is something that I really like. You had mentioned earlier that I think you said last year was a season or a year of reflection.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you?
That meant more of kind of getting myself in a good mental space, essentially.
Mhm.
Uh, I guess like kind of growing up, I never really thought of like my mental health as part of like my overall health in general.
Right.
And I think during like college and stuff like that, it was very amplified with that
Hmm.
sort of mindset, where it's just like, I don't really give a shit about my mental health. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and which led to me like falling in love with drinking and falling in love with a lot of other substances and everything like that.
Hmm.
Uh, and so I, last year, I really wanted to make it a point of actually kind of getting in touch with my like mental health self and like creating a mindset that of understanding and like kind of like resonating and like knowing what things are that go on in my brain.
Hmm.
Because it's like sometimes they would go in one ear and like kind of just fumigate a little bit up in there, and then eventually they kind of just come out and things like that. And I never really like put like too much thought of it.
Sure.
Um, so a lot of it was more internal like reflection for me, instead of like outward reflection. And things that I like finally kind of came across is like understanding that I have like anger management issues, and like understanding that like kind of like ball it like use like putting a face to the name of my anxiety essentially, and
Hmm.
being like, what types of things make me actually anxious,
Right.
and like why are these things making me anxious, um and just like really kind of like figuring my own like voice in my head out essentially.
Yeah.
Finally being able to like kind of talk to myself rather than just like go through the motions, because that's kind of what I had been doing for fucking 29 years, 28 years at that
Right.
point. So it's like finally being able to understand like, why do I think this way, or why do I do these things in response to this like particular thing, or
Hmm.
what's going on up in there, and just like actually understanding it and putting like a face to that name essentially.
Got it. And when you like create like you said something that resonated with me specifically was putting a name to the face of your
Mhm.
anxiety, because a lot of people use that term pretty you know willy-nilly, and a lot of the times it's not an incorrect term,
Mhm.
but maybe it means something slightly different to you.
Yeah. Um it is more it was more of like kind of trying to understand what makes me anxious, and kind of where my place was in the world, and like
Hmm.
knowing and understanding how I respond to like certain stimuli essentially.
Okay.
So a lot of it was just like, okay, well, why like I mentioned a little bit ago, like I figured out that I had anger management issues and things like that. I was really prone to anger, and I was like, okay, what is enabling that sort of thing within me? Like what's like the like not necessarily trigger, but trigger is like the only kind of phrase that I can think of right now. It's like what is triggering that in me? And I found out that like drinking was like a big trigger of that one, like
Hmm.
overuse of alcohol and things like that. So I made a conscious effort to like cut out drinking on the weekdays, so I don't like drink on my work days anymore. Permitted like given like special events and things like that, I'll still
Sure.
do it then. And so now I just do it on the weekends, and like I've noticed that like I haven't really had that many like outbursts ever since doing that. And like that was kind of one of the earlier on things that I realized last year when I was doing like internal reflection, is like, holy shit, I'm not so quick to anger anymore because of
Yeah.
that. And it was like smaller things too, like I like cutting out a lot of like not necessarily violent video games, but like a lot of violent multiplayer games. Like I'll still play Overwatch, but like I cut out like Call of Duty and those kind of ones where
Mm.
like there's a really like toxic environment there. I guess it's more so of like removing the toxicity out of the equation essentially, because I was noticing I was getting more prone to anger in like a toxic environment essentially. So
Right.
like kind of ousting those, moving on, and then just like playing things and doing things that made me more happy, and
Hmm.
rather than like trying to make somebody else happy, or like I'm just playing it because that's what everybody else is doing, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I've found that like it's kind of a very that's what I'm looking for. It's like accepted to be angry, especially as male presenting people. Like that's accepted. That's okay. Like men get angry. That's all right. Like,
Yeah.
do you feel like, and this is maybe something that doesn't resonate with you, but I always noticed that my anger was almost always a mask for something else.
Yes, I would say so.
Mhm.
It probably always was like a mask. I've never really like thought of it like putting it up like as a mask per se. Um,
Mhm.
but mentioning that, it definitely is one of those things where it's like it could be like I'm afraid of this one particular thing, so let me be angry about it. Or I don't like this one particular thing that it was like said or done or anything like that, so let me be angry about it and let me outburst about that, instead of rathering it being like, let me sit down, have my thoughts, and then communicate that at like a later day.
Mhm.
Whereas like instead my initial thing would just be to be like angry and just start being just outbursty essentially. But I do think that like it probably was like I was afraid to actually have communication and like have those kind of emotional talks,
Mhm.
because, and you mentioned this just a little bit ago, like toxic masculinity, obviously it's like I was always told
Sure.
like men don't show their emotions when they get whatever. They can show anger and they can show like happiness sometimes if they
Sometimes.
really want to. Sometimes, yeah, if they
So,
really feel
but
like it.
only specific reasons you can be happy.
Yeah, like when the birth of your child, that's the like the one time you can be happy. Otherwise you don't like your kids, you'll never like your kids.
Right. Or
But
like
yeah,
if your team wins the Super Bowl, you're allowed to be kind of happy, but like show it in like a manly way.
oh yeah, like it's a very, it's also, that's also a very teetering thing though, because it's like, oh, if my team is fucking up, oh man, I'm gonna get angry, I'm gonna get so angry.
Yeah.
And it okay, really quick sidebar. I love
You're
this
fine.
whole like this whole aspect of football fans or like football dads or whoever, I guess, or whatever. They're just like, if their team wins, it's all about like, what a great job we did. What a great
Us.
job we were.
Yeah,
We're
we
so fucking good. Like, but then as soon as they start losing, or if they lose, it's like, why the fuck are they so bad? What are they doing over there?
yeah.
I can
Yeah.
do it better. It's like, why is that? Why is that just their go-to?
Yeah, and it's very, we separate ourselves. Separate
Yeah.
ourselves. I know I fully admit to my guilt of I used to let football games kind of ruin my day. Like
Yeah.
it used to just like, and I kind of figured out that it was because I didn't have a lot else going on at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a lot else going on in my life, in my world, and kind of mental health was at a pretty low point at that point. So I was also like just looking for any kind of joy. And then if
Mm-hmm.
my team lost, my joy would be taken.
Yeah.
And it was like
It'd be stealing your joy.
it was their fault, and it was the whole day. I'd be ruined. And I've learned at this point now, I'm like, I am allowed to be bummed. Cannot be angry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowed to be bummed, and I have to have like a time limit cap on it. Like
Yeah.
to be like, I get like, give me like 30 minutes, 40 minutes to just kind of be like, just
Exactly.
like,
Let me just go fester for like a couple of moments, and then I will be good in
yeah,
just a little bit.
give me a little time to just be kind of grumpy, and
Yeah.
then once that's over, then I'm like, yeah, it's a bunch of grown men millionaires.
Just a bunch of grown millionaires just bashing the shit out of each other.
Second sidebar, because we both have ADHD, I think, is
Yes. It's not diagnosed for me, but like I really want to go actually get a test for it.
I got it as an adult, so it's common. My there was a player on I think it was the 49ers, and he posted his game day check.
Okay.
Which, like, whoa. Like,
oh yes, I did hear about this.
he posted his game day check and like covered up like the address and stuff like that. But like,
yeah.
was like, went on this long rant about how much taxes are taken out of his game day check. And it's like, dude, you made more in an afternoon than like the average American does in a year. I was like
what?
and you're like pissed off about taxes being taken out?
Wow, taxes. How dare they?
Suck it up, Buttercup. I get taxes taken out.
And they're proportional for what you actually make.
Yeah.
So it's like, makes fucking sense.
You're making
I love that.
A lot more than me.
I love that mindset where it's just like, yeah, they took out so much of my so much money for my taxes. It's like, yeah, they do that to me too.
Yeah.
They take out so much from my taxes.
They really do. And I don't have an option there.
Nope.
Like at all. I mean, I could choose not to pay them, but then they come after me.
Yep. And that's how they got Al Capone.
That's exactly how they got him. Yeah, it's one of those things that you just we talk about anger. There it is.
Talking about anger, talking about toxic masculinity of growing up and being like, I was always taught to not show emotion and not let the emotional side come out. And yeah, that's
I had a bit of a similar experience with my bio dad. Granted, my bio dad like was very in and out of my life and all this stuff, but I don't want to go into that like deep of a story about it, but it's very he was very like, if you show emotions, that's gay, like immediately, like,
oh yeah.
And like we were walking I just realized we were walking home from the liquor store, because classic, and somebody who was very clearly cross-dressing, like had a mustache but had like the wig and like the big fake boobs and all that kind of stuff, like walking and doing all that kind of stuff, and
slay queen,
like very very obvious.
Hell yeah.
Looked at me and went, "I didn't raise no queer, right?"
Oh,
and I was
Jesus.
like 9, so like my initial reaction was like, no, like and now looking back on it, I'm like, you didn't raise me at all. What are you talking about? But
you weren't even fucking there.
What are you talking about? You didn't raise me at all.
What the hell?
But it's very it's so interesting, because like that, even all the way up until like the turn of the century, like was still a thought. And in my world specifically, as a therapist, obviously that's kind of changing, and I'm trying to like show a lot of young men, dude, cry about it. Like, dude. And that, I mean that in the most literal sense, not the cry about a pussy sense. I mean, cry about it, dude.
No, literally.
Like, get that out of you. Because you bottle that shit up and just keep pressurizing it, it's gonna explode.
And that's the thing that it was always when I was growing up too, because that's what my dad did a lot. Whereas he would let things bottle up and then eventually it would explode. And it's so interesting because it's like, I was always told like, never show emotion, don't like cry about things, like
right,
whatever, yada yada yada. But then like those things would happen where it'd be like my dad would explode, something would happen, and then it would be like a big like emotional fest after that. And probably some of it was like manipulation, like looking back on it and like understanding that probably my dad was very manipulative for both me and my mother. And I think he has definitely like worked on that as he's like gotten older and like seen his kids grow up and everything, and me especially, since I was the last one. I think he got much better about it and like understanding and like developing his emotions, but it would always be that thing where it's like it would explode and then it would be an emotional heart to heart afterwards, and then it'd be back to the same cycle. The cycle would just essentially restart at that point.
Right.
So I think a lot of like, to kind of bring it back to like the yearly themes thing here, where I was like, my last year was reflection. I reflected a lot about like my childhood and everything like that. I've reflected about that cycle going through that because I was noticing that I was going through those cycles as well. Like I would bottle things up, I would explode, and then I would have an emotional heart to heart, and then it would be back all over again, and I'd be back to bottling things up. Then I'll explode again, and then so on and so forth.
And it always explodes and on people that you care about.
Yeah, I mean, I have had like multiple arguments and things like this exactly with Alex, where it's like I would explode, and God bless Alex for staying around, because most people probably would have like given up on me or something like that before, and I'm very grateful for having Alex as a partner.
Yeah.
Because Alex was kind of one of, not necessarily the driving force, but definitely a driving force to be like, go to therapy. You need to like work on this. Like, I want to work on this with you.
Right.
And Alex was like definitely the first person that really proposed communicating as like as an avenue in general with me. And then obviously after seeing a therapist and stuff like that, communication became a big key part of it. It's like, no,
Huge.
you should communicate. You should not fucking just keep things to yourself and whatnot. So
huge.
It definitely was one of those things. And last year, I think, was me trying to find the root of where things were coming from. And I think a lot of it did come from like my upbringing, because like shit happened. Like I didn't really realize this until last year when I was having these reflections. I didn't fucking realize that like I've seen my dad fist fight my own half brother like 7 times, like in front of me.
Is there like did you like keep like a record? Like
no, losses? It's just like I was just like thinking about it. I'm just like,
okay.
Like anytime that like my brother would have like a get together, with like friends or anything like that, my brother was also very prone to anger management, which is probably where I picked up some of it as well.
I'm noticing a theme.
it's very thematical, which is so funny because my half brother is not my dad's son. He's my mom's son.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe there was like something kind of there a little bit where it's like you're not really my son in a sense, but like kind of like my half brother wasn't adopted by him or anything like that, but like
sure,
my mom was the one who got custody of her son, so
right,
basically my dad was like his dad essentially.
Yeah, stepdad
in the household. Yeah,
stepdad for sure.
But yeah, no, it's like I realized is like I've seen anger and violence like my entire fucking childhood, and it's like of course that would like prop its head up a little bit in my later years, like because I never really had an opportunity to like kind of unpack those kind of things that happened. I've seen my brother like hold my dad in like a fucking like chokehold in the front lawn.
That's wild.
And as like an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, however old I was, like that's terrifying.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and just like knowing you IRL, like there's nothing about you strikes me as violent.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of it ended up exploding behind closed doors around the safe people, right? Like we weren't gonna be at that particular sports bar, like with Magnolia and stuff like that, and just like
it just randomly erupts and just like yelling things.
I just see Tyler fighting somebody over by the pool table. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, I've never been one for a like physical alteration or anything like that. I've never like hit anybody. I've never like punched anybody, even in like a anger sort of way. I guess I shouldn't really say never have done like violent or anything like that. I'm very I was prone to violence for like inanimate things. So I would throw something on the ground, or I'd like break something or something like that. So it was never like directed at anybody or anything like that. I would never be like, I'm pissed off, so I'm gonna go beat the shit out of that dude, or God forbid commit any sort of like domestic violence or anything like that. It would just be geared towards something else or myself. Like there's many times that I would like smack myself in the head or something like that when I got too angry.
Yeah, and just being a male presenting person in this world, like that's often looked upon as like, well, I mean, you know, at least you didn't hit somebody. And it's like,
He's just blowing off steam.
That didn't make it okay.
No, it's not. It was still violence in its own right.
Right.
But yeah.
And it's one of those like places where I go like, golly, I wish there was like there like socially acceptable anger is something I try and teach a lot of the kids that I work with, especially the young boys, of course, is anger doesn't have to be destructive.
Yeah.
You know, you can write all your feelings out on a piece of paper and then throw that paper away. Or if you got a fireplace or whatever can burn it safely, do that, you know?
Yeah.
Which is like destructive, but not destructive to massive amounts of things, or say when you get pissed off and you throw your $60 controller, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get upset that your parents won't buy you a new $60 controller. And it's like, bro,
my $60 though.
yeah, it's staring you in the face, my guy. And I think it's such an interesting thing that we're just exposed to it so much too.
Yeah.
I saw my bio dad get in fights, you know.
Yeah, it just like, I guess it always had like a more like deeper connection than I originally like thought, like growing up and everything like that, just because it was like it was within the family, like
Right.
seeing my dad fight my older brother who I kind of looked up to in a lot of ways. And so it's like very interesting. I thought that was just kind of normal, I guess. So I was like, oh yeah, all families fight. Like one of them gets too drunk and they just start swinging fists and shit like that. That's
Typical.
just how it happens. And my dad would get angry and he would like break something. It's like, oh yeah, it was just normal. It's just kind of, it's how it happened in my household. So I'll just do that, I guess, in a weird subconscious sort of way.
When I went to, actually, Shy and I went to couples therapy pretty early on, to learn how to fight. But like,
interesting.
Fight, like I'm gonna win if she decides to fist fight me one day. But
oh, don't let her hear you say that.
She's not even home.
Oh shit.
You hear that, babe?
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna text her right now on Instagram. I'll be like, Trav says he can beat you up in a fight.
I don't want to fight you, babe. It's very we had to learn how to fight in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Growing up, the fights that happened between like me and my folks specifically, I had to sit there and just take my lashes.
Yeah.
Like if I spoke up, more lashes. If I talked back, more lashes. If I didn't speak, more lashes.
More lashes. If you did anything, if you fucking breathed, more lashes. How dare you breathe?
Right. If I didn't make eye contact, it was constant.
Yeah.
I'm not talking actual like physical lashing, but like that's how it was. It was their way. That was how it was. In Shy's household growing up, it was whoever was loudest won the fight.
Oh yeah.
Whoever was loudest, the most rambunctious, and that would cause the other person to walk away, that was the way they fought.
Yeah.
And that often sometimes included breaking things, because that's more noise.
Yeah. It was always like last word, I think, in my household. I think is like kind of the way, and I think that's very similar to Shy's as well. It's just like whoever's the loudest, whoever can get the last word in, and then have somebody like fully just being like, oh, I'm out of this fucking situation, then I don't want to talk about this anymore. Or, I don't want to argue about this anymore.
Yeah. And so
those kind of things.
What we realized was when we got into arguments, we never could solve them and we couldn't figure out why.
Yeah.
We could never figure out why. And it was because we realized that if we're fine, we're both on the same page, we communicate really well. But when we fight, she went up and I went down.
Yeah, okay.
I shielded up and like turtled, and she was just like, well, you're not fucking listening to me.
Right?
Because you're not saying anything, but you're not walking away, so I'm gonna keep fucking I'm
gonna keep drilling it.
Right, and that would cause me to just be like, okay, I'll keep shielding up, like, and I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better, and that's not on her or me. That's just literally the way we grew up.
Yeah.
And so we had to realize this therapist looked at both of us and went like, yeah, it's because that's how you fought your folks. And we were like, oh, interesting. And they were just
And
And I was
that's
like,
when you just look at each other, just like,
and
fuck.
so the therapist was like, Shy, you need to shut up and let him talk. And keep your voice at like maximum like a 7. And Travis, you need to get up to like a 4 or a 5 and speak like a normal human.
Yep.
And you can't just shield up and just, just tank it and just take all the damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is one of the things that also like my therapist was telling me, and right, Alex and I have not done like couples therapy or anything, but like my own personal therapist, this is one of the first things that I like talked to them about was how I argue and like how I approach like difficult scenarios and everything like that. And one of the things is just like the therapist would tell me is like you need to not take it head first, essentially. And just you need to, if you need to like step away, that's a good thing to do, and like let yourself have your internal thoughts and then come back together in a sense. So like when Alex and I used to argue and everything like that, I was always the one to be like, well, what can I do right now? What's this thing I can try to solve for immediately?
Let me solve it.
What is, let me do it. Let me whatever. And even if it was like an argument and we were competitive with each other, not necessarily just like we both have an equal problem, it would always be like, I got to do this right now. I need to talk about it right now. Let's just get it out there, even before I can really like formulate it in my head. And it would just kind of be like essentially word vomit in a way.
Right.
And just like overhaul the whole like conversation. So similar to like how kind of Shy took your guys' arguments as well. But then yeah, I met up with my therapist and she was like, no, you need to like let your mind like fester the words and like let your mind kind of like get your thoughts out, so that way you're not just like spewing whatever is like the first thing that's on your mind. You're letting it like kind of like age and you're letting it develop rather than it just being like that. And that's how like kind of Alex grew up, is just like, well, in like a difficult situation, or if there was like a problem or something like that, Alex is like, I need to step away. I need to like not, let me think about it for a little bit. Let me do what I need to do. Let me do this like routine.
Wow.
And then we can come back together and communicate it more healthily at that point. And like, and like early on in our relationship, that was definitely not me. I was like, nope, we're gonna do this right now. I don't care if you're uncomfortable. We're gonna like
we gotta
solve
duke
this
it
shit.
out. Yeah.
We gotta solve this shit. We gotta duke it out. Put up the guns. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, finally, I was just like that, and then I would have those moments of like the cycle where I would blow up again, because then it's like, well, shit's not working out for me right now, so I guess I'm just gonna explode about it.
Yeah, let me just bottle that up, like bury it down here. Just...
Let me bury it down. And then after a while, I finally was just like, no, you're right. I need to have like way to communicate more healthy and get like a good compromise in this sort of situation.
Yeah. Did you find that like, I know, like, I'm just like, I'm thinking back to my own thing, and I'm like, if I had stood up and was like, hey, I think we need time to like back off and calm down, they'd be like, just like more. That's more lashes, baby. That's just. You don't get to tell us what to do. You don't get to tell us how to run this house.
I mean, that's exactly what it is, and like even with
back
like.
then.
Yeah. Well, back then, and even like when I was not really having moments like that, and like before I talked to a therapist, and before I realized that I definitely had like a problem with anger, where it's just like I would do that with Alex. I would like, we would have an argument, and Alex would be like, I need to step away. I'm like, fuck no, you're not. We're gonna do this right now. Come on, let's. Like, it would always be like, no, we need to do this right heckin' now.
Yeah.
And go from there, and it would just get worse and worse. And yeah, and like eventually just all the shit would blow up, and then I'd be like pissed off at myself, pissed off at the world, pissed off at everything.
Right. And I know that, like, I don't know if you've had this similar thing. I know that when those like emotional explosions would happen, I'd feel like almost embarrassed after, because like,
oh yeah,
sometimes they because like sometimes when you obviously pressurize and bury things forever, it's like a fucking feather that like takes it off the top.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck, like and afterward you're like, what caused me to go over the top? Oh, it was this tiny little thing, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way you put the fucking orange juice back in the fridge, you know, like, and you're like, oh god, it's just like embarrassing.
Yeah, no, it's I don't really necessarily know if it was like more embarrassment for me, but it was more just like regret and like remorse for like how I acted and the things that I would do and like the things that I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really necessarily I guess it kind of is bred out of embarrassment in a sense too, or it's just
Sure.
like, well, no, I guess nobody really saw me at all, but I guess I'm not super embarrassed, but I am embarrassed with like myself.
Yeah.
And like a lot of it was guilt. Which is like those emotional that's like the emotion cycle of that, whereas like I would get emotional afterwards and it would be not necessarily a half-assed kind of like heart to heart in a way, but it would be mostly just like a surface level thing rather than like, I blew up, I'm sorry I blew up, let's move on from there, rather than let's talk about actually why I blew up and the things that like caused me to blow up and things like that. So it'd just be kind of left to the wayside or put on the back burner essentially, which is how that cycle whole fucking starts up again.
Always, yeah. Because you're like, well, I didn't get it all out, so let me at least like bury some of that back.
Yeah. And then the next thing that could be, like you said, putting orange juice in the wrong fucking way of the refrigerator. That's the next thing that's gonna blow up.
I prefer it in the door, babe. Yeah, like it's.
God dang it. We got pictures that go in the door for a reason.
And it's so sad that that is like a legit thing that I've like heard from parents and other kids. Like they'd be like, yeah, it just set me over the top. But it's almost always because they're just burying and pushing stuff down forever and ever and ever. Yep. And obviously, as we get older, we like compartmentalize even more. That one little thing, you know.
One little thing. There's always gonna be one little heckin' thing. I swear.
So that year of reflection for you caused you really get in touch with some of those things. And I'm sure that's like still continuing and you're still kind of working on some of the things, and maybe, you know, it's just like, you know, the orange juice is okay wherever it's at. And like, yeah, as long as it's in the fridge, I don't care. You know, and
as long as it's being refrigerated, because that's how mold grows. Come on.
Especially where y'all are at, man. I'll say true, just actually. again, sidebar, being in a very dry climate up here in Denver, that's like not a thing I have to think about anymore. Not nearly as much anyway.
That's fair, because yeah, you're definitely in a drier climate. I feel like I have really bad seasonal allergies though, and it's very offshoot or like onset by the dryness of the air. Like my throat gets so scratchy during the winters here because the air is just so dry. And I guess it could be a story of like just living in a place like this where it's like 90% of the year it's wet and humid, so my throat is just usually lubricated essentially.
Yeah, getting more and more used to that since I have moved here. It's like there's definitely an adjustment period where I was like, I am chugging water constantly because I just feel so
I have
dry.
Humidifiers going like all the time during winter here.
This is where I get to call Portland people like a little soft.
I mean, yeah. My freaking... So I have sleep apnea, and my CPAP machine has a humidifier on it, so while I'm sleeping, I'm getting a humid, moist airway.
Oh my god.
Can't breathe right when I'm sleeping.
Damn it, my throat like closes for some reason. Weird.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. I just grasp for air in the middle of the night, like as if I'm like choking.
Yeah. Apparently, that only happens to me when I'm on my back.
Interesting.
But and I think it's just because like you're on your back, so like gravity just kind of pulls your chin down a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, because I did like the sleep study thing, and they were just like, dude, like just lay on your side.
Lay on your side.
Lay on your side. You'll sleep better every night of the week. And I was like,
fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Because
No,
they were
I
like,
think
dude,
when,
you turned over, you didn't snore anything, and you were fine.
what do you know?
You went into REM sleep almost immediately.
God damn.
And I was like,
Lucky.
what? And they were like, yeah, dude, but like you laid on your back and you like start choking. And I'm like,
It's like Jesus.
damn.
Yeah, no, when I did my sleep study, it was really funny because they have like really cool at-home studies now you can do. You don't have to like go to like the hospital and like sleep overnight there. 'Cause
Right.
that was the one thing I was always worried about like before I got diagnosed was like, I don't fucking like hospitals. I don't
Mhm.
want to go sleep in a hospital because that makes me feel like I am like on my deathbed or something like that. Because that's been my like only experience with hospitals.
Uh-huh.
With like I'd visit my grandpa because he was on his deathbed at the hospital. So it's like that's my only
Of
experience.
course.
I don't want to do that.
Right.
And then they were like, "No, we can give you at home shit." And I was like, "What?
Can
You
you?
fucking can you?" And but I did that, and they were like, "So yeah, we got the results back in, and you have like severe sleep apnea." And I was
Bummer.
like, "Oh,
Bummer.
cool, thanks."
Strap
it
this
was-
to your face every night. Like, all right.
Yep. I was like, I was okay with it though, because like I always knew that it was like a problem, because I have a lot of like shortness of breath issues and stuff like that, and like definitely a lot more fatigue throughout the day. Like I get very fatigued more so than I
Mhm.
used to, like and whatnot. And so a lot of it was because it's like, yeah, I'm not getting enough oxygen in my sleep. And I've had partners that have told me like, you do know you just like kind of stop breathing in the middle of the night, and
Yeah.
like you'll like actually like it seems like you wake up and like you're like grasping, like you're like and like kind of like almost choking in a
Right.
sense.
Right.
And I was like, I'll get it figured out eventually.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll get there.
I'll get it figured out eventually. And I always like to make the excuse that it was like because I wasn't really on insurance for most of like my college days. So it's like, well,
Right.
how the fuck am I gonna afford this like $4,000, $6,000 machine if I do have sleep apnea, which I definitely probably do. So it's like
right.
I won't do that. But I mean, some of it was definitely like laziness too. Like I should probably finally go and do that, especially after I got insurance. Alex had to like poke me and be like, go the fuck, go get your sleep study, go get your machine. And I was like, okay, I guess I will.
Okay, let me strap this to my face. I saw.
It's a little thing. It goes right over my nose and goes whoop.
Yep. I saw a TikTok of somebody who was just like, how am I supposed to date when I can't even, I will suffocate in my sleep. If I
How
don't
do I
have
do
this
it?
machine, how am I supposed to like date and stay over at someone's house?
They gave me a little overnight bag. I guess I just gotta carry that shit wherever I go.
It's in my car.
You're at the bar or whatever, and you're just like, oh yeah, it's just me and my machine.
It's my wallet. Shut up.
It's my wallet. It's my briefcase. It's really funny because like Alex and I went to Hawaii not last year but the year before,
Mhm.
and I remember like I think that was like one of the first times I had to fly with the machine.
Mhm.
So I had like a little separate bag, and I've never had to like travel with like medical equipment or anything like that.
Right.
TSA and shit, they don't give a fuck about medical equipment. They're just like, is that a CPAP machine? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, cool, go ahead. I don't even think they might have, they probably still scanned it, I think, but like they were
So you
just
probably
like,
sent it through the thing, but
yeah. But like, yeah, no, they would just be like, oh, here you go. Here's your like little medical like bag tag for it or whatever. Never had like second looks on it, and I'm just like, I was so worried that like, because like most of the time Alex and I would like fly Southwest and things like that, and usually they have like pretty strict like bag policies. Really, any airplane place or whatever, any airliner will have strict bag policies. So I was like waiting for somebody to be like, did you check that? Did you do that? But it's like, no, nobody ever did.
no. I've had one specific person, and it was like the people that you like turned your check bags into, and you're supposed to like set them on the thing and they weigh them and stuff like that. But it was Southwest, so I was just like, whatever, I'll just throw everything in the bag. And she's like, it's 53 pounds.
Oh shit.
And I was like, and like, and she was just like,
needs to be 50.
it can't be over 50. And I
Yeah.
was like, Okay. So I like had to like just carry like a pair of shoes, and it's just like that's the only
so
time
bizarre.
I've had it over. Like one time I had it like it was like 60 some odd pounds, and the guy just strapped it with a heavy tag. It's just like,
Like doesn't make any sense. No, yeah, Southwest specifically, we've had that happen a couple times where people like the person who's checking it is just like, this is like 50 pounds, 0.6, and we're like, come on, that's like a shirt or two.
yeah,
I guess we'll take out a shirt or two. But then yeah, we've had some where it's like 53, and they're just like, it's fine,
yeah.
close enough. And also, I think it depends on how like busy they are. Like if they're having a bad day, it's just the person, whoever's doing it.
Maybe that's it. Maybe she's just having a rough day of it.
Really wanting to ream into these like obvious college kids.
She's like, yeah, this fucking 21-year-old, fuck him.
Pieces
Okay.
of shit. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just going over for Christmas. I'm the asshole. I have like fucking presents in here, but I guess I'll throw them in my fucking backpack
Oh yeah.
and my boots. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you got like that part figured out, because that just sounds really difficult.
Yeah.
And I would hate
last
to like
year...
strap something to my head at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. When did I get it? I think it was like 2022, the tail end.
Mhm.
So like last year, I think was like no, it was actually 2021 at the tail end. Holy crap! I didn't realize it was that long ago. But yeah, no, I got it in like 2021 at the tail end of the year. So I've had it for a couple of years now, and it's made it so much of a difference. Like, not only do I like not really snore or talk in my sleep anymore or grasp at air in the middle of the night, but like
Sure.
I've had so much more like energy throughout the day,
Yeah.
and I'm more awake for more of the day. Whereas
Mhm.
like I would be at work for like maybe, or I'd be through the day for like 12 hours, and I'd be like, oh, I'm tired already. I'm gonna go back to sleep, and it'd be
Right.
like 8 o'clock at night or something like that. And it's like, no, I'm like awake now at 8 o'clock. I have more energy to do things. I feel a little bit more lively. Um, it's just nice.
Health problems end up like kind of rubbing up against mental health stuff too. If you're like constantly tired, you can't do some of the things that like make you feel good because you just need to sleep.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
self-care.
in a weird way, I think that kind of definitely helped with last year of like having a lot of like internal reflection too,
Mhm.
because it's like, well, now I'm not worried about like my necessarily like my health stuff. I could still be like more of like a healthier weight and things like that, but those are like other things. But like, got done with the breathing stuff, figure that stuff out. I have a
Mhm.
lot more energy now. I could put a lot more emphasis into other things of my health, and one of those being the primary of mental health, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you what is this year of the 2024?
2024 is what I've coined the year of adventure.
Ooh.
So that, to me, it resonated with like kind of like the re-emergencing of myself in the world, going out and doing more things, being more present, being around, and like trying new things too.
Right.
So it's kind of like almost like a twofold thing where it's just like I want to do more things, and I want to be around more people, and I want to try a lot of new things. So a lot of like my decisions this coming up year, if I'm ever faced with like a decision or anything like that, I will be like, do I do this because it's like a new thing, or do I like not do that because I don't feel like being like that adventurous in a sense? So it gives me that little bit of room to be a little bit back and forth on it, where it's like I can go back to my old kind of ways where it's just me in the apartment or something like that. But
Mhm.
if like somebody just randomly texted me and was just like, want to go out? Hell yeah, I do. Let's go out or something.
Right. Yeah, I like that a lot, just because like adventure does not have to be in the same way. And I tell kids and parents this all the time, man. Like adventure, whatever, self-care, it doesn't have to be this like $100+ you don't have to create like so much money out of
No.
these things. Like, yes, shit is expensive, and you can also like go to a new park, you know? Go,
Yeah.
you know, take a different path when you walk your dog. Like,
Yeah.
those little
It could be
things can be,
simple.
yeah, those little things can be an adventure. And I mean, I know Jax, anytime we switch the path, he's always like, oh my God, are you serious? Let's go. You know?
What's happening?
Yeah, because he'll like, there's certain turns like in the neighborhood that he kind of like would look back at me like, are we going that way? And
Which way are we gonna go today, Dad?
yeah, and I'm like, and I'll just be like, I'll kind of like point, like, keep going. And I'm just, and he's like, okay, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that actually that was kind of like the first stepping stone that I took for this year in
Mhm.
the yearly theme is like I've been going out on like more walks, and I also realized like I've not really like explored our like new neighborhood. We've lived here for a little over a year now, and it's like I maybe know of like where to go down that way and where to go a little bit that way, but it's like what the fuck's over there? What's over there? So
Right.
let me just take a walk for like a 30 minutes a day, whether it be with Spyro or not, because Spyro's pretty lazy sometimes, and we'll go on a walk and then he'll be like, all right, well, we went around the little roundabout that we have over here, so I want to head back. So I'm like, all right, dog, you can go back. I'm gonna keep walking.
Yeah, just gonna open the door and drop the leash. He'll run in and then you
Basically, just let him back, and he's just like, all right, I'm gonna hang out with mom for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, like one of the that has impacted me a lot more. Is just I go on a walk now practically every day with his dog. There are days when it just can't quite fit into the schedule, but we can like play and you know do the stuff to kind of tire him out a little bit.
Yeah.
But even 20 minutes out with this outside with his dog, and he's just like, all right, you know.
I'm feeling good.
Right. And if we even do that, he's so much less of a fucking asshole at night.
Yep.
And it's because I know it's because he's, you know, he just turned 1, so he's in that teenage annoying dog phase, but
Oh yeah. That's one of the things with Spyro as well. We've put him on such a schedule that if he's ever thrown off of his schedule, he's like a fucking menace.
right.
Like consistently, like we get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I give him his food. Take him out to go to use the restroom. He goes back to bed typically, and then like 11:30 noon, somewhere in between there. That's where we go out on like a little walk. He goes and takes a shit.
All right.
And it's just like today I had a couple meetings go over at my work until like 12:30, and literally like from noon to 12:30, Spyro was just like pouting and just being like a fucking nuisance. He was just like a, Dad, come on, take me out already. What are you doing? What the fuck?
You're like, dude.
I got a meeting. I'm sorry, dog.
I know you don't understand what I'm telling you right now. But I'm trying to communicate.
Damn it, dog, I'm trying to work on my communicating here. I'm telling you right now.
I'm just telling you straight up to your face. I can't leave. And the longer you do this, and the longer we talk about this, the longer it's gonna be. Yeah, dude.
He's like, fucking what?
Yeah, and he just kind of like does. Jax does this little head tilt thing.
A little help to.
And
I've never gotten Spyro to do the head tilt. He just kind of like stares at you with like 1,000 yards. He's just like,
right.
huh?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm really grateful for, in kind of because music for me is such an important part of who I am.
Yeah.
And walks are like that's like a good album right there, you know, like a good like 40-ish minutes. That's like a full album.
Yeah.
Or you could go Meteora Linkin Park, because that's like half an hour on the dot. And you could and you know like that's like a good album listening time.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. Love this. And it's been like a big thing for me. Like I almost get a little cranky if I can't like go out for a little bit with him.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And especially like particularly about the music and just knowing you as a person is just like, yeah, I feel like if you didn't have music at least like for a little bit once per day, I feel like you would probably go insane a little bit. You'd
Yeah,
be
I
like,
mean,
I'm not yourself at all.
yeah, and it's one of the reasons I mind a little bit less about the traffic on the way home.
Yeah.
For some reason, and I don't know why this is, it takes me about 15, maybe 20 minutes tops to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way home, it takes like 35 to 40 minutes. Which doesn't make any sense because you'd think the same amount of people are going.
You would think so.
I don't understand how that works, but regardless, that's fantastic. Just like decompression, especially from like a day of a bunch of kids who are like either really struggling or
Mm-hmm.
and like I talked about this on another thing, but like there was this one day where for whatever reason, and I didn't even mean to do this or mean for this to happen, but I had all of my SA clients on the exact same day.
Oh.
And it was just like hour of trauma processing, 5 minutes of self-care time, hour of trauma processing, 5 minutes to like pee again. It was just all day.
Yeah.
And that day I had to like come home and I just like sat on the couch and I was like, do you want to watch something? And I'm like, no.
I don't want to do anything right now.
I kind of want to stare at the carpet.
This hole in the wall has been there for a little while. I'm just going to stare at it.
Yeah, you know that paint chip where I ran into the wall with the table? Yeah, I'm going to stare at that for a bit.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Honestly,
I feel that there. Though. It's just like after those kind of days, it's just like you don't want to do anything, and you would honestly probably watch paint dry.
Yeah, because nothing bad can happen.
Nothing bad can happen. Even if it starts dripping a little bit too fast, you're just like
yeah,
it's fine. Gives it some character.
You're like, and that's not somebody having their innocence taken from them. All right.
Yep. That's nice.
That's nice. That's good. I like that.
That's when the dog walks by and actually just like picks up the paint and just by running into the wall by accident, it's just like, well, shit,
dude.
Now the paint is ruined too.
What are you doing?
Fuck.
Yeah, it is something that I definitely, I know for me and a lot of other people that like animals have that really powerful kind of connection to us and can create more with us to grow and to just like, and I don't think he has any idea he's doing it.
Nope, not at all.
He's probably just like, yeah, all right, I'll go on a walk anytime.
Yeah, hell yeah, Dad, let's do it. No, it's the same thing with Spyro. It's just like he has helped my mental health so much after getting him during the early days of the pandemic. And I was hoping if I said his name, he would make an appearance, but
sure,
no. Yeah, no, he and I don't think he doesn't fucking know. He's just a little guy. He's just a little boy.
He's just a little guy
doing his own thing, and
right.
It's so crazy because like this is a little bit of like a weird small tangent about dogs, but I saw like a video online. I think it was like a like somebody who trains dogs like professionally, and like I understand where they're coming from, but like at the same time I'm like, no, fuck you. They were just like talking to somebody, and the dude was just like, oh, my dog is so happy to see me when I get home or whatever. Like they come running at me, and the dude's just like, no, it's just because they know that like you're there to like give them food and like support them and like to like help like give them what they're essentially needing and what they're wanting. And like when you give into those things, that's like giving onus or power to the dog, and like they're basically being like the alpha and taking over. But it's just like,
fuck that.
What? I'm pretty sure the dog is just happy to fucking see me when I walk in the door.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. It's just because the fucking they know that they're gonna get what they want now because you're showing up. It's like, what? I hate that. I don't remember who it was, but I saw him like on like Instagram or something like that one time. It just randomly popped up into my feed.
Just I saw him pop there real quick.
It's fine. Come here really fast. We'll see if you will.
Yeah. It's one of those like, I don't like the idea that it's like we have to we own our dogs. Like we have to be like the master of the dog. And it's like,
Oh
yes,
yeah.
yes, and like if he just listens to my commands, like it's fine.
Yeah. If
Like
you have like a little bit of like just kind of general, not necessarily ownership, but just like that, just kind of like pack mentality, I guess, in a sense, where you're the one that is like the person in charge. But that's all it needs to be. It's not just like they're
yeah,
just a dog. Essentially, they're also part of the family. Like
right. And he's got
family will listen to you if you give them respect.
yeah, he's got personality and
Yeah.
you know, he also knows that like there are times he goes too far and he even like expresses that. And
Yeah.
it's I don't go so far as like dogs are people too, but it's like but he's got, you know, personality and he's a part of who we are, and
Mm-hmm.
he's literally a part of like my daily everything at this point. So you know, he goes, he wakes up, and if you stay a little bit too long in bed, you start hearing the mini barks.
Mm-hmm.
Just the oh.
Oh yeah, I love. Spyro's small enough to like sleep underneath our covers, and he has really big dreams sometimes, and we'll hear him going like full growl mode and just like woof, 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 in his sleep, and we're just like, oh my god, you're the cutest fucking thing ever.
Yeah, I like the yeah, because he's obviously Jax is huge. He's 100 pounds. So because I think we were like, yeah, I think he's 5 Spyros.
Something like that. 100 pounds? Actually, that would be 5 Spyros exactly.
Yeah, he's massive.
Massive boy.
So his dream barks are always they're kind of just like
Big beefy barks.
yeah, they're just kind of and I'm just like I want to see what you're seeing right now.
Right.
I don't know if you're chasing a
me know.
rabbit, because there's
The
like
other
rabbits that
day-
run around here.
Oh yeah, the other day was really really cute actually. I was in bed and Spyro was in there with me. Alex was still up just hanging out on their computer. Spyro must have had like a nightmare or something like that, because he was like barking in his sleep, and all of a sudden he like woke up and he just shot out of the covers and then ran into the office and was just like, he saw that Alex was still here, and he was like, oh. And then he came back like slowly, got himself back into bed. I think he like was scared that something happened with Alex or something
That
like
had
that
to
in
be
his dream.
like just a sad dream or something.
Yeah. He's just like, I had to make sure that my mom was still here.
Yeah. It's adorable.
So adorable.
It's adorable.
Dogs are the best.
They are. What I think we should do is take a quick little break. I fill up my water bottle, use the bathroom, stuff like that.
Sounds good.
We'll come back. I have a few more things that I was gonna ask you about, and then Q&A here at the end.
Yeah, sounds great.
And Q&A, just for those who have never been to a TravTalks or anything like that before, a Q&A can be about things that we have been talking about, things that we haven't talked about, or even things that have nothing to do with what we've been talking about. Like with Tabby, I asked her what her favorite second evolution of a Pokemon was.
Oh shit.
Which I might ask you a very similar question. Or the same. Who knows? Like, who's got the best Giga Evolution or whatever the hell they're called?
Like Mega Evolutions?
Is it Mega?
Listen, I don't know. I stopped playing Pokemon when I was younger, around like Gen 3, so...
Oh, he's a fake fan. Okay, no, I get it.
Yeah, big fan.
He's a faker.
A fucking faker indeed.
No, maybe I'll just be like, who's the best starter from, you know, Ruby?
Yeah.
Because that was the last one I played before I skipped a bunch, and then I came back to it when I had actual.
I've been trying to go through them again, and
when I had adult.
I think we have a copy of Emerald that I've been playing through like off and on for past like year or so.
Nice. No, they're grindy games.
They are.
And they've gotten less grindy, which is weird.
Oh yeah.
Because you like start with EXP share. You just start with that.
So much easier.
Right? So everybody evolves, and you're like, oh well, like
Cool.
I can just use the same guy for everything.
Caterpie ever again.
Right. If I can evolve everybody.
Yeah.
by using the one guy who's got like 4 different type moves. They do get complicated though. A lot more like stats moves and blah blah blah, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm still of the volition of if it doesn't do damage, I don't want it.
That's what I do all the fucking time with Pokemon, where it's just like, I don't need Leer, I don't need whatever double team, whatever the fucking moves that just give stat buffs.
It's
and
so
I was like,
funny.
no items, no nothing.
They're like,
potions.
they're like, dude, well, like, what about like buffing your stats? And I'm like, the only stat I care about is reducing their HP to 0.
Exactly. And I need all the attack moves to do it.
I don't care how I'm getting there. All right, y'all. We'll be back in about 5-ish minutes or so, and then yeah, we'll pop back, and then we'll kind of transition. Sound good?
Sounds great.
We'll see you all in just a few. Goodbye. Excellent. All right, everybody. Hello, hello. We are back.
Hello.
And he changed his shirt.
I did. I was getting a little sweaty in the sweater.
You were looking toasty.
It's a little warm here today, actually. The sun was out for the first time in 2 weeks. I think.
Months?
Maybe.
I don't know. I've never seen it before.
What's the sun? Vitamin D?
God,
You people get that?
Oh man, I miss. I should say I don't miss, like, not knowing like when it was gonna be coming out next.
Oh yeah.
Like I still have my Happy Light. It's actually right over there. Like I still have it because I was like, it fucked with me.
It does. It does fuck with you quite a bit. I mean, yeah. No, I do we? I actually don't think we have a Happy Light. We should get one of those, Alex, because it does, especially around winter time. You can really feel it.
Yeah, that was my. I think it was my first winter when I came to Portland, and I was just like, man, no snow, which is a bummer, but like I can handle that. But like,
The sun
I'm no sun even.
doesn't exist.
Oh man. And just like that like drizzle, not even like rain, like that gray drizzle.
It's just overcast and it's just like constantly just like a sort of wet outside.
Yeah. Like my car's never dry, you know?
Why do you think rusting is such an issue here in like Oregon on cars?
Man, I don't miss that.
God, our old car was like, I mean, it had a lot of sun damage from, it was a California car originally. So it had a lot of sun damage from California. But then it came up here and it started getting a little bit of rust damage. And it's just like, this poor car, it's going through the motions.
It's going through all the seasons. Well, I will say the sweater looked great on you, but I understand. As somebody who runs very hot. Somebody who constantly wants to expose his shoulders.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any sleeveless shirts, so I couldn't appease the masses with the no sleeves.
Dude, send me, dude. I have a board and a fabric cutter. That's how I do it now.
Oh, fair enough. You just snip them off.
I used to scissor it, but now I got a fabric cutter.
Yeah,
it's like a pizza cutter.
oh, is it kind of like one of those like the big pizza cutters, or just like a regular like rollerblade pizza cutter?
Like a rollerblade pizza cutter. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and my move is to throw on top of the shirt a tank top of mine that I've made that like fits really well, and just kind of guide along that.
Oh yeah, it'll be your guiding light.
Yeah,
Although I think if I went sleeveless, I think Alex would actually like have a hissy fit with my fashion choices. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just don't know if
Why?
it will really agree with my body type.
Why?
I got really tiny arms. I got
So
like
what?
pool noodle arms.
Pool noodles belong in the sun.
Alex?
I'm just
He's
saying.
got a point. Alex?
I'm just saying, babe.
And then Alex will be like, "But there's no sun here, you fucker." And I'm just like,
Well, there is no sun. Sorry.
Alex is interjecting. Oh, a third guest.
Can I be heard talking
Yes.
over here?
Yes.
Lion.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Well, this is too much of time. We've had. I have a background in fashion and costuming. We've had so many conversations about like dressing for your body shape and like looking confident in what you wear and yada yada yada. And I have spent years convincing you to be confident with like a mild amount of fashion, and now you're gonna like go against everything we've been talking about for years and years and years.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
Rebellion.
I'm happy for you.
Oh, thanks. Jesus.
Rebellion.
Oh, I didn't realize I was gonna be catching so many fucking bullets today.
No kidding. You're a sponge right now.
I guess so.
Man, does Alex hate my fashion choices this whole time? Oh my god, I had no idea.
I think Alex just hates me.
I
So
don't
many
think that's
divorce
true.
jokes.
Well, I get those too. And then I got a little too tipsy one night, and I was like, "Babe, do you actually like legit want to divorce me?" And she was like, "Fuck no."
No, Alex has told me that multiple times. It's just, honestly, I think it's just a facade, though. I think Alex is like
Do you think
gonna actually do it sometime.
do you think she likes you?
I don't know.
Oh man, maybe we should ask her out.
Alex is like, I'm gonna kill you in your sleep like all the fucking time whenever I make a shitty joke or
Hmm.
say something that's mildly offended them.
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah, it's all about insurance now. Gotta get that
well,
10,000. Yeah, gotta get that $10,000 check.
Oh, mine's a 100K.
Oh wait, maybe mine is 100K. I don't remember actually.
I just signed up for
Not
it,
enough
so
zeros.
I just signed up for it, so it's 100K.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
I'm not gonna let Shy know that.
Yeah, better not.
100K doesn't last. 100K
Too
doesn't
long.
last.
Yeah. About
It's
a
like,
year maybe.
That's a good
Yeah.
that's a good 2 years of living okay.
Yeah. 2 years, I think, if you like stretched it, depending on how much like living expenses are.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I had to live off 100,000, I mean, I would be able to live the 1 year very comfortably, but the second year is when it's like, oh, it starts getting a little worrisome.
It would get a little dicey.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. But then there are people who complain about 100K in an afternoon. So
I mean, if you're a football player playing the Super Bowl, here's his paycheck. Look how much they took out of his fucking taxes.
gee whiz, must be tough.
So difficult. It's paid over 6 figures, probably.
Ah, jeez.
How dare they?
Oh, it's the worst. So I wanted to go back quickly to the season of or year of adventure, rather.
Yeah.
Do you break that up into like, this is my winter adventure? Do you have any sort of plan for that kind of thing?
No, I think it's just more so it's going to be how I kind of make decisions going forward throughout this year.
Mhm.
Like one of the things that I had to make kind of like an early decision on, for some reason, I guess I'm gonna throw like my close-knit group of friends down the drain under the bus, whatever you want to say.
Fair.
I'm kind of like sort of planning my friends' like bachelor party a little bit in a sense,
Nice.
because none of them are really good at communicating about it and like trying to figure out plans. So
Mhm.
he has been like presenting like questions about it and being like, what should we all do or whatever, and I was like, let's fucking go somewhere. Like, and he's like, okay, do you guys want to go to LA? Do you want to go to Seattle? And I was like, let's do Seattle. So I'm just like kind of making like not executive decision, but like kind of putting like my foot down on decisions in my
Right.
life instead of it being like, well, I don't know, where do you guys want to go or whatever. It's like, no, let's go to fucking Seattle. Let's go have fun in Seattle. Let's get an Airbnb and stuff like that.
There's cool shit up there.
Yeah, so it's more so just like how it's guiding my decisions throughout this year,
Yeah.
and just kind of taking more charge of my decisions, and rather than being like indecisive, I'm gonna be decisive and take those steps to like doing other things and interesting things this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of cool stuff up there in Seattle, and obviously for you, not very far. And
No, not at all.
see, like around here, like the move is the like 90 some odd dollar trip to Vegas.
Fair.
Like that is a quick little flight.
Yeah, that is fair. I think it's not too bad. I think that was an idea that he had floated around too, and he was like, we can go to Vegas, and I was like, okay, do you want, like, you can drive to Vegas from here. It's gonna take a while, but
It'd take
You
a
can.
day for sure.
yeah, day or so, especially if you like trade off drivers and stuff like that. But
Sure.
then he was like, no, we can just fly, and I'm like, okay, that's not a bad idea either.
We are like, no, Seattle's the move.
but it's like $200 per plane ticket, and I know some of that group of friends is not necessarily stingy on money, but they definitely don't have like as much money, I would say, to like
Sure.
kind of lavishly expense on those kind of things. So I was like,
Of course.
Seattle's easier because then just like two of us can drive. Don't mind paying like we'll get an Airbnb, we'll all split that, and then like
Right.
you just buy whatever way you need to do for like going places and like buying food and buying beer or buying whatever.
Right. Yes, of
Makes it easy.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot, man. I like how like creating that kind of charge for yourself. Sorry to hit my mic there. That charge to not only create like that sense of adventure for yourself, but also now it's like, I don't like the word that I'm choosing, but I'm choosing it, is infecting the other people around you.
Yeah.
Influencing, that's a better word.
Influencing, that's better.
That's a better word.
Peer pressuring them.
Peer pressuring them, but in like the most like positive way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's the same peer pressure when I'm like, you know, like when are you gonna get up there and sing? You know, like that kind of thing. Because I'm gonna back off the second you say no. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of it is because like the last few years, obviously with the pandemic, and it's obviously still going around and everything like that. It's still not over, everybody.
Still not over.
Hate to break it to you. It's still not going anywhere.
Yep.
But it definitely feels like it's more of like a safer thing to do and like kind of go out and do things again. And
Mhm.
so I think that like this year I wanted it to kind of be that, because I have been stuck indoors for so freaking long.
No joke.
And it's like, okay, well now I actually want to like go back out into the world, and I honestly think it's going to help in a lot of different aspects of my life.
Mhm.
Because it's like I'm not going to be cooped up anymore, and I'll actually kind of break down the social anxiety that I kind of sort of built up a lot more during the pandemic and everything like that. And it's going to be a good driving force, I think, for me.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
if you ever break free and want to come down to Denver, then
Hell yeah.
even this room can be yours and or Alex's.
You'll just be streaming, and I'll be in the background just like asleep, just like
With your CPAP machine.
with my CPAP machine on. She'll be like,
Just like,
is he okay?
super loud. Oh, he's fine.
He's fine. He's doing his own thing.
He's fine. We bought him more distilled water today. He's fine.
That's all I need. More distilled water.
How do you when you think of this yearly theme of adventure and going out and doing more stuff, do you feel like that is going to kind of bump up against the kind of content creation stuff that you're trying to do?
Yes and no.
Explain yourself.
Because it's a very interesting thing, and it's one of the biggest struggles I think I'm gonna have this year is maintaining that work life stream content creator balance, essentially. Because I definitely was struggling with it last year, because I think initially, like, just starting out streaming, I was only doing it like 2 times a week. basically every single week and everything like that. And I felt like I hit like a good, nice balance between that work and life. But then as things started progressing, started getting a little bit more of a community, a little bit more of a following. I started including more time and then more days onto those and things like that.
Right.
And so that work life stream balance kind of, and it's still kind of out of whack essentially for me right now.
Okay.
There's a lot of times where it's like like for example last weekend on Sunday, I had some friends that were just like, hey, can we come over, like play some board games and like have like do dinner or whatever? And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then I was like, oh shit, I forgot I like scheduled myself to like be streaming that time.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to like allowing myself to be like, well, I'm gonna have time for this and I'm gonna have time for this and I'm gonna have time for this, but things like happen all the time. And
Right.
I think not putting too much emphasis on like, oh shit, I made this schedule, I need to like stick with it, is one of those things where it's like, okay, I don't have to necessarily keep myself to that, and I shouldn't feel bad if anything does happen, because things can fucking happen. And you know, like if my friends ask me to like go out, and I would be like, oh yeah, I want to go out, let's go and do that.
Right.
But it is going to be one of those challenging things this year where it's just like, okay, how do I balance not going crazy at work and not going crazy with content creation and then not going crazy with life in general?
Sure.
So it's going to be a challenge, and honestly, I don't know how it's going to pan out. Like, it's a very uncertain sort of thing for this year for me. But I think taking that challenge is also ties in directly with the theme too. It's just like a challenge can be adventurous. Overcoming a challenge can be adventurous. It could be that sense of accomplishment. It's like kind of going on like a big hike or something like that.
Sure.
It's a big challenge. It's adventurous, and reaching the end is part of it. And
Sure.
and I think kind of handling it and how I deal with it in all aspects of my life will be just part of the year, essentially.
Yeah. And I definitely know that feeling of like canceling a stream. Like I know for me, I still struggle with it sometimes, and I definitely I've definitely found myself like getting better about being like, it's cool, man. Remember, like I have to remind myself, for me, that this is a hobby.
Yeah.
And not a career.
Yeah.
As cool as I think it would be to like have like a career out of this, I need to like that would be like a really big like thing, but it would be then I would have to like really consider those things, as opposed to just like, sure, it's a really fun time, and obviously I love talking with chat and making jokes with y'all and having a good time. And then there are times when it's just like, or like I got invited to go do something, and
yeah,
while I planned on it, or like I think it was like 2 weeks ago, like a friend surprised us from out of town. They just kind of texted us and we're like, I'm in town,
I'm here.
Well, shit, like
shit.
Wrap it up. I know I was gonna do that, but you know, I can either make it up, or I can, like, it's fine. Yeah.
And I think that is a one mindset that's really helped me when I first started doing content creation and like putting myself out there too, is like I went into it being like, this is not going to be a career. This is just something that I like to do. I like to play games with my friends. I like to have people watch me play games. Like, I've done that my entire life with me and my friends sometimes.
Right.
And so it's like a thing that I've always really liked to do. And I think that's just kind of the general mindset that I went into it. And it definitely felt like, okay, I need to, like, when I set a day for a stream, I need to be there, kind of a thing at first. But then over time, it was just like, if I canceled something and then everybody was like, yeah, let's chill, you do what you need to do, and I'm just like,
right,
you know what, you're right, like I am gonna do like kind of what I need to do, and if I need to cancel it, everybody kind of just understands, and they also know it's just like, yeah, I'm not doing this for money. I don't think I even gotten a single dime yet, essentially, and I'm just doing it because I like to like entertain, and I like to like hang out with people and learn new things and just meet new people essentially.
Yeah. And I've found that exact same thing happens like practically every time I end up canceling a stream. Is everyone's just like, yeah, man, sounds good. Like,
Yeah.
no, I've never got a DM that's like, can't believe you didn't stream tonight, fucking asshole.
Fuck?
How dare you?
Well, it's kind of funny actually, like
Whoa.
to think about it and to like kind of taper back to a previous conversation that we were having. It's the same thing of like everybody. It always feels like everybody's looking at you at the gym, essentially.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like you are the streamer, so everyone's there looking at you and like counting on you in a weird way.
Mhm.
But at the same time, everybody has like their own lives and their own things. Like I always appreciate anybody who's there hanging out with me on the days that I am streaming, and they all understand that like we're just all people too, and sometimes you're not going to be there, and sometimes I'm not going to be there, and everybody's just kind of chill with it. And I learned that about like halfway through last year, and I started not necessarily giving less shits about it, but like in a way giving less shits about it, where I'm just like, people are gonna be there because they want to be there, and if they can't be there and I can't be there or anything like that, just the way the fucking world works, everything's all good.
And I think like, and Scuba said this earlier, was remember a lot of viewers would probably also bail on stream to hang with friends too.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
absolutely.
Yeah, like I wouldn't blame anybody for doing that. I would want you to go and enjoy time with friends, either in real life or if you're like, oh, my friends and I were all having a Smash tournament in Discord. I'd be like, dope, go do that.
Yeah.
Go
but
have
it's
some
like
fun.
a weird thing. It's like a weird thing when you think about it, and you're the content creator. You're the one that's supposed to be putting the content out there for them. So it almost feels like you can't have those same excuses.
Yeah, I'm the show. Why is nobody?
I'm here. Like this is what people are here for, right?
Right.
So it's okay if you all want to go and do something else.
Right.
I'll still be here, but it's like, no. You have your own life too.
Yeah, both can exist.
Yeah,
both can exist. Yeah, I feel the same way when people apologize for missing streams. It's a wildly sweet gesture to say so. Like it's like, I'm so sorry I missed it. Like I wanted to be there, or like I'm sorry I missed your TravTalks episode. That's a common one actually. But I'm always just like, it's all good. There's gonna be more, and also like, I wasn't like, I don't like keep my like chat list open. Like I don't like, just like, where the fuck is Aaron? Like,
where is Aaron, huh? Aaron, where are you?
And I'm not even gonna say which Aaron. You three get to figure it out.
You figure it out yourselves.
Yeah, which vowel did I use? It's very hard to like. It's always that very sweet gesture, and as the content creator, you're just like, it's really sweet that you said that, and I wildly appreciate when you are here.
Yeah,
that's it.
And honestly, it's like, anytime that you are here, like, it's great. I love this whole interacting with the actual like community, and whatnot. That's one of the best things that I have enjoyed about specifically streaming, is having that level of engagement with a community. Because back in like early college days, I tried my hand at like let's playing and whatnot, and those videos are all privated, so nobody can fucking find them. They're still up on YouTube technically, but they're all delisted and everything.
Alex can get us the links.
I don't even know if Alex is logged in on that YouTube actually on anywhere. That's a good question. I'm scared now.
You're getting a look up.
I'm like, oh god. But I tried my hand at that, and it was good. Like I had friends and family like message me on like Facebook and Instagram and being like, that was a really good video, like thanks for doing that or whatever. But it was like never felt the same, because it's like, okay, I recorded that like 3 weeks ago, and I've been editing it for the past like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like it feels so disconnected and not even like a part of like what I'm doing. Whereas like with streaming, it's just like I can just talk to people for like an hour. I can sit here and play this game, and we can shit on it all we want and everything like that in real time. Dude. Mostly real time, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, a couple of seconds delay, but like it's why do you think I do just chattings forever? Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
because it just ends up, I'm just like, we're on a roll, we're back and forth, you know, we're and it's such a,
We
it's-
got a groove.
it's why like that, because I used to think very similarly, like I have to, if I'm on Twitch, I have to play a game.
Yeah.
And it was a thing that Cam and I actually struggled with back and forth, because like people would talk like, oh, like y'all got really good chemistry, but like, why aren't you playing a game?
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, you're right. I guess we are on the video game website or whatever. So it's like, but then again, there are people who just like sit there on their phone for 3 hours getting 12,000 viewers, you know, like.
Yeah, I think Twitch definitely started off as like the video game streaming platform essentially, but I think with the invention and kind of the introduction of Instagram Live and TikTok Live, and then specifically like music streams and whatnot, I think that kind of geared Twitch away from that and like started moving towards those avenues. Be like, we want people who are IRL, we want people who are just playing music, taking requests to play music,
Right.
and things like that. So I think this has happened like within like the last like 4-ish kind of years, like not really since like Twitch's own like birth or anything like that, but it's definitely like Twitch is going away from just like traditional, just like we're just only here to play a game, and whatnot. And it's really kind of having a more of a grand focus of being like, we like those people that are just gonna sit there and talk to chat for a couple of hours or anything like that.
I mean, I think that, and like, I feel like, I mean, I still feel like video games end up being king on the website.
Yeah.
Like, you know, cause you still got your Fortnites and your Call of Duties and, you know, whatever the in game is at the time, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. It's just, but the just chatting's always, you know, really like kind of blew up and do well. And
Yeah.
if you can,
I think it's.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I just feel like if that is a thing that works, Twitch is not going to like discourage it. You know, they're like, if that gets us and you money, then great. You know,
That's true.
they don't care.
That is true.
And for like, and I know for me specifically, like that, not that the video games aren't fun. Like I'm having a blast going through Final Fantasy 16. But like, I don't know, there's that's another time that's when we get to connect and we get to do our thing. And then when I start the game is usually when either people leave, which I like don't blame them for, because some people are just there for the talking, but that's like, then we're doing our parallel play. Like I'm playing Final Fantasy and you're playing whatever, you're Assassin's Creed or you're I don't know, Mega Man. That's a weird reference. I don't know why I thought of Mega Man right there, but
Mega Man, yeah. See, I think that's kind of the thing though. It's just like,
it's probably your blue. Sorry, it's a very Mega Man blue shirt. Yeah,
no, this is a goose. This is a goose.
I see it. I see the goose, but it's like that powder Mega Man like NES blue.
It's that like, yeah, it's like the white with the dark blue and the light blue.
Yeah,
kind of color scheme. No, that makes sense. That makes 100% sense.
Yeah. Sorry, that's.
Oh, you're chill. Like you said earlier, I think you already said you're diagnosed with ADHD.
It's official,
baby.
I'm
undiagnosed. I think I'm undiagnosed with ADHD. So we go off on something, we'll just go off.
My bad.
No, you're chill. You're chill. What I was gonna say is just like, I think the video game is definitely always king on Twitch.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the most easily accessible sort of avenue to get people in on a community and get people in on your streams and everything like that. And like it's obviously oversaturated because it's super easy to get into, and I applaud Twitch for making Twitch and any really streaming services to make it really easy and accessible for a lot of people.
Right.
But it is definitely like one of those things where it's like, okay, it's super oversaturated. But yeah, the video games get you into the door essentially, and then I think the just chattings kind of later on are for when you have that community around you, and you're essentially inviting them to be there with just like you. They're coming for you. They're not there for like the video game that you're playing, they're just wanting to like chit chat with you, and they're just wanting to hang out with you, essentially. And I think it's one of those things where it's like you never see like a small just chatting streamer in a sense. Like it's hard for them to like kind of get in the door with that. And I think the video gaming specifically is like the way to get into the door, and then you kind of get to that point where you can just be on just chatting and just like hanging out with them for a little while, because like I said, they're there for you, not there for the video game that you're playing, essentially.
Yeah, I think there's like definitely two, like I mean, because like there's obviously like everyone has like this idea when you say the word small streamer, there are people who are sitting with like 50-60 viewers who are just like, oh, I'm so tiny, and I'm like, yeah, I guess in comparison to like Rocket League, who has like 40,000 viewers, but like that's not a fair comparison.
No,
I think there's like, you know, because like I don't have my viewer count up or anything like that, which is helpful for my mental health. I recommend it to anybody.
Highly.
I highly recommend.
I do too.
I made a joke. I remember making a joke once and seeing the viewer count go down by like 3, and I was just like, I'm the worst.
That was the worst fucking joke I've ever told.
I'm the worst content creator. I'm not funny. Yeah.
Yep.
So highly recommend that to anybody. That's always my thought. But it was very like that world of like content creation and comparing and going like, but you can start pretty much anywhere. And I agree with you. I like the idea. Like you start out by just, not everybody does this, but like you play a game that you like, and if you're you know, you start talking with people, and then, you know, some people are specifically looking for like the smaller streams because they want to they want to like, well, I want my like chat to be seen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's very, everybody is searching for their own type of content. And I think that's one of the, I don't know how much you know about Kick specifically.
Only a little bit. I mean, I know of it, obviously, and I know it's kind of a little bit of I mean, probably a lot of bit of a cesspit, a little bit, with kind of what's going on the platform itself. I like the ideas that like Kick have for content creators.
Yeah.
I just don't like their implementation of those set ideas, or the way that they're kind of laissez-faire with a lot of things that go on the platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of the split that they do, which is like, I think it's like 95-5. Like you can, you make most of the money that comes your way, which is really cool. I think that also attracts a very specific kind of person most of the time. And what I said the other day about Kick was, on the platform, there are not people there just to watch.
Yeah.
And if they are there just to watch, they're going to watch their one person that they're there for.
That's it.
And that's it. Otherwise, it's a bunch of streamers, which is great. But all those streamers are going to go live, and they're all going to do their thing, and it's all going to be competing, and it becomes rough.
Becomes a mess.
Yeah. And I feel
it's
like,
really interesting. And this is kind of like just a little sidebar. It's just really interesting. It's really interesting how Twitch, Kick, and YouTube all do things really well in very different ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Kick does really well to like give the streamer the onus and give the streamer the money, essentially, and like pay them for their efforts. YouTube does a really good way of keeping people like notified and like having really good engagement and everything like that. And then Twitch has a really good like discoverability for a lot of things. I do like to go on Twitch's like discovery page, and even if it's like for a like particular game, they make it super easy to be like, I can just drop into this one person's stream, and now I found like a new person that I'm gonna hang out with for like for a while here, and it's nice. Yeah, those are my little tangents about those three specifically. It's like they all do things really well in certain ways and then not so well in a lot of other ways.
There's like the problem that I feel like a lot of the small creators run into is because a lot of them will probably argue with you that like discoverability is really difficult. And I've talked with like a lot of the TravTalks end up we go down this route a little bit is you end up, if you have a niche, but your niche is large, say you're a small creator, but you're jumping into League of Legends, you know, that's a huge niche.
Yeah.
But it's going to have all these people playing it. It's going to be a little bit harder to get discovered. However, if you're like, I am exclusively a Star Fox 64 streamer, like, okay, power to you, but it's going to be a lot harder to be discovered because like, while that's a well-known and liked game, it's a little bit harder to kind of almost corner the market on that one.
Yeah, that's where like playing the algorithm kind of comes into play, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
Where I was kind of mentioning earlier, it's like you're playing like the most newest thing and like kind of being drowned in the discovering or the discoverability, or you play something that's like so like retro that like there's not a lot of people really playing it, and so like your discoverability is like way higher, and then you're gonna get those people that are just like, oh my god, I fucking loved this game as like a kid, or I play this game all the time, like this is my favorite game of all time. So they want to see what you say about it, but it's like if you play something that's kind of like in the middle of all of that, where it's like, yeah, you'll probably maybe not get like one or two people or something like that.
And obviously, like, this is, I mean, I feel like it goes without saying, but like your viewers are actual people, who have lives outside of this and need to take care of those things before coming automatically to your stream. And I think it's always just like such an honor when people are in the chat before I'm even there.
Oh yeah, like I saw Aaron earlier in chat, like before we even started. I was like, oh my goodness, hello.
I know, I'm like, whoa. You know, and that it's so heartwarming. And you just run in, I feel like finding that kind of just gratitude for every small step, because there are some tiny steps along the way. You know, people coming in, people following, right? And that's like the first step, is just like getting that follow. And then if you stick around long enough and they decide to like subscribe, you're like, you know, like, or even just throw a couple of biddies, and like, and I think it's like those are huge steps that a lot of people, as they continue through content creation, it gets, especially on Twitch, I should say, it gets a little jaded almost. Yeah. That idea gets a little like, yeah, I guess, but you know, it's it's okay. Like,
yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like when you start like kind of growing, there's always going to be that level of I'm not going to say always, but there's going to be that level of like competitiveness, and there's always going to be that comparison that you kind of do. And you mentioned this a little bit ago, like people who have like 50 plus people watching at any given point are just like, oh my god, I'm such a small streamer, like what am I doing wrong or whatever. It's there's always that kind of like step in each evolution that you go into here, but there's a lot of times that you do kind of forget, like if you start being a little bit bigger, you kind of do lose that sense of oh, I remember when I only had like 2 people following me, and then I got my 3rd follower, and it was like, oh fuck, the whole world is collapsing, it's great, this is amazing, or whatever. And it does get jaded after a while, but I don't think I've necessarily like hit that point per se in my own content creation, but I do fear the day that does kind of happen. I never want to be the person that's like forgets or doesn't thank somebody for being there and hanging out with me, essentially.
Yeah, And that's why, like, I mean, it's why I have gotten a lot better, or at least I feel like I've gotten a lot better. Guess it's up to y'all to kind of tell me. Is about if I'm like, I want to be like grateful, and I want to like show that gratitude in the best way that I can as a content creator, because I mean, yeah, like there are people who get all the way up to partner, and then it kind of like you kind of hit that like now what thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like what do I do now?
Now what? And they just did like the partner plus thing recently, which is kind of cool. But like it used to be like partner and that was it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, now what?
Where do I go from here?
Right.
That's actually kind of funny you mentioned that, because there was a creator that I was following for a while, and he was having such a struggle getting to partner, and I remember, I think one of his he finally got partner, and then a couple streams later I was watching him, and he kind of had that realization as well. He's just like, wow, I put so much focus on, I gotta get to partner, I keep submitting the application every however many times you can submit it in a month or whatever, and he kept just grinding it out and whatnot, and then he got to it and he was just like, what, where am I now? Like,
Yeah,
what
now? Now I
go
get-
back to doing kind of what I was doing already, but doesn't feel satisfying right now.
Yeah.
And he took like a month break or something like after he got partner because of it.
How?
Yeah. He was just like, I need to not, just for a little while. I mean, he would do whatever the contract told him to do. He, whatever, how many hours it tells you, like, kind of do when you first get partner or whatever.
Right.
He would do that, but then he was mostly just like, we're just going to kind of keep it the same that I've been doing. I think he was like a Breath of the Wild speedrunner or something like that at the time. And he was just like, I'm just going to do a couple like any percent runs, gonna get my amount, and then I'm gonna take a little bit of a mental break from all this, because he put so much emphasis on trying to get to partner that it kind of like ruined streaming for him for a second.
No doubt. Yeah. It's
But then he came back and he was great. He was having a blast after
I don't
that.
doubt it. Yeah, that's why I've said it before, but like if this ever becomes not fun,
Yeah.
I'm done. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
If this is ever a point where I'm just like, gotta go live, gross, I'm done. I gotta be done.
Yep. That is 100% what I told myself when I initially started too. I'm just like, I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this as a hobby. If this ever becomes not fun, or if I loathe anything about this, that'll be it.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate everybody who's been with me along the journey and things like that, but if I'm not having fun with it anymore, it's going out the window, baby.
Yeah. And I would obviously be like grateful for my time. But like I've even seen a couple of streamers that I was following this year be like, it's burnt me out. I'm tired. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer fun. And they like and I think you and I briefly talked about it at one point, but we were talking about that perfectionism idea of like you have to, if you don't hit the numbers every single time, or if you don't hit, if you don't hit partner in this amount of time, you're done. I've been streaming for like three plus years at this point. Like technically I'm nowhere near the requirements. And it's like, but if I was like focusing exclusively on that, I would be done a long time ago.
Yeah, seriously.
This is fun.
Similarly, like when I didn't hit affiliate until December of last year. So I was like literally a whole like 12 months before I actually finally got to that point. And like I won't lie, it definitely like hit me every once in a while. I'd be like, oh dang it, I'm just been chilling at 45 for like forever or whatever. I'm almost there. I'm so close, and like kind of get down on myself every once in a while. But at the same time, I'm just like, no, I'll get there when I get there.
Right.
Could be 2 years. I'm still just enjoying what I'm doing. I'm still playing games with my friends.
Yeah, playing games with your friends, playing Alan Wake. I see you out there. Did you beat it yet?
Not the second one, not yet.
Okay, gotcha.
He hasn't woken up yet.
Ugh, that guy.
He's always taking his damn naps.
Oh, he's taking
Pisses
two.
me off.
He's taken two today.
Two naps. A nightmare.
Why doesn't he just write happy books? Oh no, I made that joke in your stream.
Why doesn't he just read like a child's book or something?
Yeah,
It makes him feel good.
Why didn't he just like write about unicorns and shit? Like, writing all these like evil dark mysteries.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Dude, just like write about how everybody cleans up after playtime.
Write about the nap you're just having. Like,
What's
just
going
say
on,
like
man?
I laid my head down for a quick little rest and I felt great.
And I felt lovely after that. I woke up and I made myself a sandwich. And it's like,
Hell
man,
yeah.
this guy's living the
And
life.
then go into really, really in depth about like
The
what type of
sandwich.
sandwich and like the dimensions of the sandwich and everything. Just like as crucial details as possible.
As the oats fell off my whole grain wheat. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, definitely. I pulled the Dave's Killer Bread out of the bag.
I can't have Dave Killer bread. They process it with peanuts.
They do.
It's so stupid. It's literally
ever-
Dave's Killer bread to me.
Yeah, it'll definitely kill you. Did you ever hear about the original like owner of Dave's Killer Bread or something
Yeah, wasn't
like
he
that?
in prison or some shit?
Yeah, he went to prison. He had like a fucking police chase and he like used to sell drugs and shit.
Hell yeah.
He's like, yep. Then he got out of prison and I think he's back as like a show person because it's like him on the cover or something, or it's supposed to be like a depiction of him on like,
Right.
the logo.
Right, but he's just
Fucking insane.
he's like, I make bread. Literally.
I make bread. That's all I do.
Just make that bread. But yeah, coming back to just the idea of like if this loses its luster
Yeah.
as the hobby that I have deemed it, then I have to pull myself out.
Yeah.
Because I know this affects so many content creators of just like I have to get it right. And like Twitch, like all these places even inundate you with numbers, man. Like
Oh yeah.
the analytics of like each TikTok that I made are available within like 12 hours of when I post it. And it down to the point of like when people clicked off my video, like, and I think that could be wildly helpful if you're a study the numbers kind of person and like, well, I'm basing my content off of like when writing happens, all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still wild to me.
But it's like incredibly toxic for I feel like everybody else in the room because of that. It's just like if you like the numbers, do the numbers. You can probably game the system that way.
Sure.
But everybody else, I feel like it's just going to negatively affect your mental health in that regard, or just your whole position on the platform. You feel like it's just going to alter and kind of, I guess, sort of like shift how you approach what you do.
Yeah.
When you look at those numbers, because it's just like, oh, they clicked off after the 23rd second or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, I'll never make a TikTok again that goes over 23 seconds.
Right.
I'll only do underneath that because that's what people are watching and everything like that. And
Or like you've watched that video 1,000 times, so you can be like, at 23 seconds, I said this line. So like in the future when I'm writing, you know, it's like you could.
yeah,
If
could.
that's what you want to create out of your journey, then feel free, man. My jokes on TikTok are things I think of really quickly.
Yeah.
And only because it's every time I put a ton of thought and effort into a TikTok that then it doesn't do well. So I've of like, all right, I'm just gonna throw shit out there, and it's like it's the are the noodles done kind of trick, you know? Like,
oh yeah.
it's
Are they
like,
done?
bah! Nope.
Here they go.
Bah! Oh, that one worked. All right.
All right, that seemed to be pretty well.
Yeah, cool. That one hit it. That one hit, 1,000 views. That's nice.
It's one of those interesting things. TikTok is one of those platforms that's very strange to me.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's just because I've gotten older or anything like that. I
Okay.
already like I understand like when you're a content creator, like half the battle of like getting people in and stuff like that is putting yourself out there on different things and just kind of like, in a sense, the noodle thing where it's just like you're throwing it out there, seeing if something sticks or something lands because of that.
Yeah.
And content creating is kind of similar where it's just like I gotta put myself out on a few platforms, see what like gets me like people in and everything like that. But
Sure.
TikTok is like one of those ones that's like I have a TikTok and I never thought I would have a TikTok.
Sure.
But I only do like clips up there because I'm just like, how do people get the time to do these other things and like make these other things when like you're focused on like content creating or you're like focused on another thing or something like that?
Yeah, I will say like there are people who have figured out their exact formula, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to reach out to specifically this one person, Jess Capricorn, who I found through TikTok, and like her edits of her clips are just like immaculate, you know? And she really like she blew up on TikTok before she ever blew up on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was a way to like get people like in. And a lot of the times what a lot of people will do is I follow you on one platform.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me to click on another platform, that's like a lot of steps here. And like people who work with like SEOs and things like that, like they've said that like the more clicks you have, the farther away from your target you're getting. You're almost goal posting, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's such an interesting choice because like that's how she blew up. And like she got to the point where she could like quit her full-time job and stuff like that. And like, you know, kudos, obviously.
Yeah, for real.
But I'm like, that's it. It was truly like she found this thing, made that work, and slowly got it to transfer over.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a benefit of like hitting those strides essentially on one particular thing, because then you can like transfer and transition to a different platform or a different thing that like maybe you're starting to get a little bit more interested in, essentially.
Or it's just kind of on a wave, you know?
Yeah.
You never know what, like, I've never figured out exactly what's gonna blow up. Like I was doing, there was a small period of time where I was doing like kind of like rock and metal content on my TikTok.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
I never knew which one was gonna blow up. It's like some did really well, and then others did like fucking nothing. And I'm like,
yeah,
what is the difference here? You know? And yeah, I just decided that like I think I'm just gonna kind of reach into different things and see what kind of sticks, and if that sticks, then I'll do one or two more of those, and if not, then fucking whatever, man.
Do you think you'd ever like because there's a lot of content creators that's like obviously they found a very specific thing that resonated with a big audience and things like that.
Yes.
Do you ever think like if that happened to you and it like one specific thing started resonating with people, do you think you would be that kind of content creator that starts to only do that and then transition away from that to do other things in the future? Like say you became like a dance TikToker or something like that.
Holy
and
shit.
That just like blew up. Would you be like that type of person that just like, all right, I'm making dance TikToks only, and then in the future, once I got that audience, we can transition away from that?
I think once they become no longer fun, you know?
That's fair.
Content creation for me is fun. And once it no longer becomes fun, that's when I'm done with it. That's why TravTalks took a long hiatus, because I got like big timed and people were like rude to me, and I was like, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Right? I think I told you about it, right? Someone sent me. Someone sent me their rates.
Oh yeah, and then you had somebody like be like,
I checked your Twitch tracker.
What's your normal polls or something like that?
They're like, I checked your Twitch tracker. You don't have the audience for me.
You're too small. It's like, what the fuck?
And I was like, damn.
They're part of the problem. That's the thing. That this whole mindset of, and I know you say this quite a bit on TravTalks, but it is a good phrase. The comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm-hmm.
They're part of that problem. They're the reason why that phrase kind of exists, because they're arbitrarily putting up that comparison wall essentially between the smaller content creator and the bigger content creator, to where now everybody will think that everybody will always have that little bit of a step where it's like, okay, I'm a little bit bigger now, but this person's even bigger than me, so it's like I'm still small in that regard.
Right. Well, I now that I've done a few more episodes at this point, now I'm like, okay, no, I got a little bit of that confidence back.
Yeah.
To be able to ask the bigger creators about like, hey, do you want to like just come on this thing? It's really laid back. There's no pressure, nothing like that. I am here as just kind of a fun extra thing, you know. Yeah. I make the joke obviously that I'm like siphoning clout, but like that's just not the case.
If anything, I'm siphoning clout from you.
You son of a bitch! No,
come here, please. Hello.
Hi, I'm a more attractive Travis, and I'll be like, damn it, he's right. But it's very.
I'm a less curly hair Travis.
That's true.
My hair is curly, but not as curly.
That's fair, but I don't know how many Jews you have in your family, so.
None, I don't think.
Oh, see, it's all Jews. Anyway,
actually, there might be, because like my last name is a German name. I've never done like Ancestry or anything like that, so there could be. You
mean the enemy of the Jews? Sure. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, there could have been a few of us.
I don't know if that was the move, but yeah, there you go.
Well, it's just like, I mean, there's Jewish Germans.
There are, yes, obviously. Well, not anymore. Anyway.
Anyway. Fucking kill me.
Sorry.
Fucking kill me. It's
sorry,
so
you killed me. Anyway, we can kind of transition more Q&A style.
It always comes down to Auschwitz. Everybody knows it. Every conversation.
Bro, I've been. It is eerie.
Oh my god. Fucking. So, I'm not gonna talk about obviously Holocaust, but I remember, this is a funny story. I was in an improv
the segue
class
so far, but I hear you.
I was in an improv class, and I forgot what the general the presentation that we were doing, or whatever we were doing, whatever short form skit that we were kind of putting up.
Mm-hmm.
But like one of the things they always teach you in like improv is just kind of like yes and going with the flow, essentially, is being like yes and we're doing this, and okay, never really saying like no, essentially. But unfortunately that could lead to some skits and things like that go a little bit south and go pretty awry.
Yes.
And I remember there was one where the group, I don't remember if I was in the group or if I was not a part of this group and I was just an observer, but the group started going like slowly getting into like a Holocaust sort of like internment camp, prison camp, bad everything skit.
Eesh.
And nobody really knew exactly how to turn it around, so some people were just like going like yes and it just got really awkward and really kind of like, oh, can we put this like kibosh on this right now and just like restart it? Thankfully it only went on for maybe like 5 minutes, but it was like an excruciating 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
It was funny though. Everybody had a good laugh about it, and they're like, that happens. That can happen in like improv shows. That can happen to like anybody in improv and sketch comedy. It's just like, it might be a little cringy. It might get very dark, and it might just make people uncomfortable. Which is why a lot of times if you go to like an improv comedy show, they're like major trigger warnings everywhere. Like this could get into touchy subjects. This could get into like real emotional bouts. and everything like that. So be prepared.
Yeah, the improv teacher that I worked with for a little while was it was obviously the yes and principle was huge, but the other piece was just like kind of was trust yourself.
Oh yes,
was just like you're gonna be funny, but you have to believe that you're gonna be funny, because if everything you say is with a little bit of doubt, the audience hears that and they'll all know.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll all know that you don't quite believe in the things that you just said. And it's like, oh man, that's wild.
That is.
So it just becomes like this like small little piece that I have to like kind of, oh yeah, like I just gotta say what happens, and if it ends up being weird or slightly offensive, then
then it happens. Yeah. No, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned just having that, like, people pick up when you have doubt, because it could be just like subconscious. You're just like, I don't even necessarily think that I'm like doubting myself, but like you could be just having that little bit of less confidence.
Yeah.
And then people pick it up, and like it's very interesting how an audience can perceive those kind of like minute, under the surface kind of things. Whereas like you think you're a performer, you're just doing an outward thing and it's all surface level essentially. But it's interesting that people can pick those things up and like almost unanimously tell you afterwards or mention it or anything like that.
That's what I tell people when I was working karaoke. It's like if you get up there and you're nervous and scared, like people are gonna tell.
Yeah.
People are gonna be able to notice. If you get up there and you fake it, then like maybe there's gonna be some like seasoned performers who can tell you're faking it. But other people are gonna be like, yeah, and that's good encouragement. That's gonna make you feel a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
And the move for every beginner, and I'll tell this over and over again to any beginner who's like, oh, I'm too scared to do karaoke. Just do a song everybody knows. Do a song the entire bar knows, and none of them will be paying attention to you.
Nope, not at all.
You get up there and do a Sweet Caroline, everyone's just gonna kind of like be singing along, and they'll
go ba ba ba.
Right, they're all just gearing up for the fucking chorus.
They're just fucking ready
to scream the words "so good,"
so good, so good, so good.
Yeah, and they don't care what you're singing up there. They barely hear it.
They don't even give a shit.
It's a table of 6 middle-aged men who are just ready to fucking roll with Neil Diamond, man. It's crazy.
They fucking love Neil Diamond though. Holy
do they?
Toledo.
Don't they? Oh my god.
I honestly think that like, okay, so I think Sweet Caroline is probably the most karaoke song like of all time. I think I've heard that one more than any other song, but I am curious to know what you think as an actual KJ.
Don't Stop Believin' was always up there.
Yeah.
So, a slightly surprising but not surprising choice was Mr. Brightside.
Oh, interesting.
That's it, and that one gets people going.
Yeah, I mean, gets all the white people out.
It's provocative.
It's provocative.
It's really that one is a really big one. Sweet Caroline's up there, don't get me wrong, but it also depends on kind of the age of the bar.
Oh, that makes sense.
So like when I was working at the Happy Turtle, like that bar was a lot younger than the sports bar or the pirate bar, like those bars had a little bit older of an audience, so they generally went that route more often.
Yeah.
But Don't Stop Believin' prevails.
Always prevails.
And Friends in Low Places.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That one prevails, and I can't stand that song.
What about I feel like what was the song? Red Solo Cup is also a pretty good one. I think people sing that one a lot.
That's a particular bar song because that one was not super popular at Happy Turtle.
That's fair. Yeah. Happy Turtle was also a bunch of college kids, so yeah, it was a younger crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point too. Yeah, it's very because like the sports bar with Magnolia, like that was always like a slightly older crowd generally.
A lot of post college people there. I think like people that were mid 20s, mid late 20s, like early 30s. I think were showing up there quite a bit, especially like when Alex and I were going there frequently since we like lived right next door to it.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. And that's when Magnolia and I were like literally running that bar and Happy Turtle, and it was just us.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
The days of old.
Anyway, just to get the audience up to speed here, we've been doing TravTalks. This is a show about mental health, content creation, kind of all sorts of stuff. And we've reached kind of the Q&A section here at the end. You can ask us about anything, whether it's about the things that we've talked about, not the things we've talked about. It can be to one of us, either one of us. It can be to both of us. It can be to just one. And obviously, we have the right to veto any question because it's our show. Well, it's my show, goddammit.
Yeah,
it's my show, goddammit.
Let him do what he wants.
I would say Santeria is up there. Again, depending on the age of the bar. I would say that was a little bit older for some.
That's fair. I feel like that's definitely like a college-y song because I feel like I knew a lot of people who were into Sublime during like my age of people.
It works. It's a good bar sing-along song. I remember the very like it took me a while to realize, but like the song What I Got, great song. But do you remember when he's like, I can play the guitar like a motherfucking riot, and then gives you like the most mild acoustic guitar solo in the world? You're like, wow. Yeah, you can, buddy.
That was so good. You did great.
You did it, pal. I love it.
I always believed in you.
And Bigger Ultra, Kryptonite. Kryptonite is that's a themed, like depending on the theme of the bar, because at the Happy Turtle, the college bar that I was working, not a popular song. But
yeah,
at the sports bar with Magnolia, absolutely.
I feel like singing There Goes My Hero would also be a really good one for a sports bar. There goes my hero.
Foo Fighters. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question from Alex here. Tyler, how are you so smart and funny and handsome and well spoken?
Listen, you fuck. I don't know, Alex. I was born.
The secret's out.
Be born, everybody. Go out there and be born.
Um,
I also like Aaron say, "Damn, Alex, you stole my question."
It's a good question.
Yeah,
it's a good question. For both of you, what's your go-to karaoke song? And I answer this the same way. I have a whole playlist, so.
Yeah, that's fair. It goes and changes all the time, but I feel like the one I always fall back on is just "Fuck Her Gently" by Tenacious D.
That's on the list.
Yeah, it's always the go-to. But yeah, the list is ever changing, and because there's definitely sometimes when it's like I don't want to sing that song ever again, or maybe I do want to sing the song all the fucking time.
So I'm gonna pull up my list because now we're talking about it. I used to have like 2 or 3 songs that I would only ever do, because I realized that you only got like 2 or 3 songs a night if you were a patron.
Typically, yeah.
And the problem that I ran into was like, I was like, well, I want to make those 3 songs like really, really count, you know? So it was I Believe in a Thing Called Love. It was oh gosh. Hold on. Here we go. It was, I would do Dead Man's Party a lot.
Ooh, that's good.
And I would do I did Creep by Radiohead for a while, actually. Which all great, all enjoyable tracks. I love all those tracks. But I got so fucking sick of it.
Yeah, if you just keep doing the same like 3 over and over and over again every single night, it's like you'll get sick of it, and then everybody else will also get sick of it too, because they're just like, oh, Trav's back, he's singing these 3.
And like it was good confidence building, and then I myself just got tired of it.
Yeah.
So when I started getting more and more like into the karaoke scene, you were just like, well, I'm gonna try this song out, and I'm gonna test this bar about like how are they gonna do if I start wailing with Ballroom Blitz, you know, like. And
oh my god, funny you should mention like testing particular songs or particular hits at different bars. I remember Alex and I went up to Seattle, and we randomly hit up this one bar because some of our friends had met us up there as well.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we usually do karaoke at the sports bar, so let's go to this bar and like do the karaoke because I heard that they're doing it tonight.
Yeah.
So he sang Firework by Katy Perry, which was like his go-to usually.
Yeah.
And usually that was like a hit with the sports bar. Everybody loved it there because he was really funny about it and everything like that. He sang it there, deadpan. Everybody was like not having it. And so I go up there and I was like, okay, maybe they just don't like pop music or something like that. So I sang Fuck Her Gently because it's a funny song. People are usually gonna like laugh at it.
Yeah.
Deadpan, nobody reacting whatsoever. I'm like working the fucking like the aisles of like the booths and everything like that, just having a good old time, and everybody's just like, the fuck is wrong with you? Like just staring at me. Even the KJ was just like, all right, that was Tyler. That was certainly something. All right, moving on to somebody else.
Damn.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess I'm never singing at this bar ever in the future if I'm ever back here.
That's wild.
Shit was weird.
Yeah. You know what's so such a bummer is that happened to me once, and it was just a confidence crusher, man. Like
it really was.
Well, it was because like it was I did Separate Ways, which is usually one of the ones because people know it, people like it, and it's not Don't Stop Believing. So
that's the key emphasis right there.
So like I get up there and I do it, and I feel like you know, I do it a lot, so I'm like, yeah, I know I got that one really well. And yeah, deadpan, and people had just lost it to like fucking like Cumbersome by like 7 Mary 3, and I was just like,
interesting.
I was like, and you weren't cool with what I did, like,
yeah,
versus like the one song that 7 Mary 3 ever did, as far as I know, like.
That's fucking bananas. I guess it just goes to show you like what kind of crowd that was. I guess they were only wanting that.
They were not happy about it, man.
Which is so crazy because I've heard your Separate Ways and it is fucking tasty.
Thank you so much. I wasn't fishing, but I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Detachable Octopus. One time I was living in Long Beach. I was at the grocery store and came upon a shirtless dude with a backpack talking to the lady behind the deli counter. And he was being like, oh, you gotta listen to Sublime. Their songs are about living here. You don't even know Long Beach if you don't listen to Sublime. The 60-year-old black lady just smiled back at him and seemed to be saying, please leave as soon as possible.
I don't understand that whole mindset of like gatekeeping a particular thing at all. Like gatekeeping anything. It just doesn't make any sense. So it's just like, oh, you don't even know Long Beach unless you listen to Sublime. It's like, bitch, no, I've lived here in Long Beach for fucking X amount of years. Like, right. I know Long Beach.
I know what a beach looks like.
I know what a beach looks like. Is it long? It's Long Beach.
It's pretty Long Beach. Is it crowded? Oh, it's crowded. It's probably Long Beach.
Got a lot of people. It's like it's like the same thing where like people are just like, oh yeah, like nobody outside of California can like listen to Red Hot Chili Peppers because like they only sing about California. So if you're not a Californian, you're not a real fan. It's just like, no,
Or
no,
not.
you just no, that's not true.
I think like it's one of the, I remember being kind of gatekeepy when I first got into like the metal and rock scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was, I kind of likened it to like, I feel like you find a thing that a lot of other outcasts start to find.
Yeah.
And you kind of cling to it because you're like, well, I kind of want this to be like mine because I'm an outcast and I don't like get that same vibe when it comes to like pop because everyone's doing it, and hip hop because everyone's doing it. Like you just get like that kind of like feeling away from it.
Yeah, so you kind of take like almost like an ownership.
Yeah, a little bit. You're kind of like, this is mine, and like you can't, like you get like weirdly possessive about it. That's kind of what I likened it to. And then I remember thinking and talking to a friend, and they were kind of like, well, if you gatekeep it and make it so other people don't get into it, then they don't get into it, so it makes less money, so you lose it because they stop making it and get tired of like doing it all.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit.
that has a lot of truth to it. I think the thing that like, because I definitely probably have gatekeeped before. Not saying that I'm like not gatekeeping or anything like that, but it's like, it's definitely one of those things where it's like you get into that and you take that ownership and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing was such like the voice for myself, or this is my avenue, so I'm taking ownership of this. And if you're not this type of real fan or whatever, you're not actually a real fan. But then the thing that got me away from like gatekeeping and actually like put a target on it essentially for me is just like somebody was just telling me like, well, if people didn't let you in, then what the hell, like you should let people in too.
Yeah,
like you would still be the outcast that you are, if they didn't let you in before. So let people in now, because you might be doing the same thing that somebody did for you when you first discovered it back then.
Right.
You could be that person for them now. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Everybody come on in here. Get in here.
Right. You want to, and like you start wanting to like show that to new people because I don't know, I got excited at the idea, like, well, if I show more people who get into the thing that I like, then we get more of the thing that I like.
Exactly.
Because they continue making the thing that I like.
Yep.
Like people, they stopped making Pepsi Vanilla, and I was devastated.
Fucking god dang it.
Not that it was gatekeepy, but no one wanted it. So they stopped making it. I loved it.
It was like Pepsi Cherry.
Pepsi Cherry is good, but I wanted the vanilla.
Good, but I like the vanilla.
Yeah. Like I was like rotting my teeth out of my head. It was great. Detachable. Man living in SoCal. I could not get away from the Red Hots. One day I woke up and opened my bedroom window and one Red Hot Chili Peppers song came on streaming through the window. Went to the living room and opened the window and a different Red Hot Chili Peppers song came on from that side.
Dude, I think Anthony Kiedis was actually just stalking you. I'm sorry to tell you this.
Do you think he just ran around to the other side of the house?
I think he did. I think he was just like, he's just like underneath the window going like, and let it hey oh, and then he runs over to the other side. He's like, give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Oh no.
Anthony Kiedis, this is why he's so skinny. He fucking is literally running around so many people.
Yeah, he's quick.
He's so quick. Do you ever see that? And I don't like James Corden or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I don't like him at all. But do you ever see that carpool karaoke with Red Hot Chili Peppers?
I don't think so.
Where Anthony Kiedis like asks to wrestle him out in somebody's lawn. They're just like, get out of the car, we're gonna wrestle, and he like fucking takes off his shirt and like James Corden takes off his, and they just start wrestling. It was weird. I love that. Fucking bizarre, but it's funny.
I love that. Someone needs to actually hit James Corden, so it's a and not just for play.
I think Anthony Kiedis would be a great contender to do it.
Sure, why not? Favorite meal?
Favorite meal?
That's a big question. Can we narrow it down by like time of day? Like, cause that's what I would want to know. You know? Cause I have a different favorite meal for like breakfast versus dinner, you know?
Favorite dinner?
Okay, so dinner. I fucking love dinner, dude.
Dinner's my turn on.
Dinner's my shit. It's my kink.
Dinner's my kink.
I think there's.
I am a sucker for a delicious curry, or a curry flavor of some sort. Alex has a recipe for a really awesome yellow curry, and then also a recipe for a like fried tofu noodle curry.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just bomb. So I think, as far as like a general like culture of food, I think Thai food is definitely like my favorite. But I think just specifically a nice curry dish with some rice, that's like my favorite dinner.
So I have to be careful. I can't have Thai food from other places. I have to make it myself.
Yeah, I mean the peanuts and stuff most of the time.
God, they love dousing that shit. Yeah. What you know, there's something about like a damn good burger.
True.
There's something about just this like
nice juicy burger.
Like it's cooked to perfection. You know, you get like that nice like I prefer the bun just like a little toasted, you know?
Yeah.
Like the cheese melted perfect. Like there's some about it.
I like a good burger that is like put together that doesn't like fall apart.
Right.
I don't like a messy burger. I like a clean burger.
Yeah. And like if you get like it's got to be like a leaf lettuce. You can't get like shredded. That ain't the vibe.
No.
You got to get like a leaf and it's got like a crunchy leaf.
Yeah.
Right? And then I mean, you can sauce it up however you want, but like there's some about it. There's something that you can't go wrong with, like that classic. Fuck yeah, this is an incredible burger. You know?
Honestly. Now you say lettuce, and is there anything else added to that, or is it just always typically cheese?
That varies
bun?
for me. I like you can go classic, just like burger cheese bun, right? But I think like I like lettuce. I'm down with onion. I like a good egg on there. If you get like a good either over easy, but that's a little messy. So like a good over medium can work too. Like a good egg on there. I've been making a chipotle aioli. And it
hell yeah
fucking kicks ass.
Hell yeah.
Bacon,
like anything
bacon,
homemade,
bacon's good on there too. Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like anything homemade is like the way to go for, I mean, any food, honestly. Making it at home is just makes food just 10 times better, unless it's like a really fancy restaurant with like the freshest ingredients.
Right.
But any homemade shit is better than any restaurant shit.
Yeah, and there's and what's wild is actually Shy and I were talking about this the other day, how like delivery and eating at a restaurant are like the same price now. Like,
oh yeah.
So like now I don't feel quite as guilty like ordering and stuff like that, because I'm like, it's the same fucking price, you know?
Yeah. I think there's like a threshold though, because it's like, if you're like ordering fast food and stuff like that, it's typically like more pricey to get it off of like a delivery site.
Right.
But if you're getting from like a like an actual like sit down restaurant that you typically go to, or anything like that, it's relatively the same price. And it's like, yeah, I'll just do that. Like during the pandemic, Alex and I would order from like this really nice pasta restaurant that we used to go to a lot before the pandemic happened, and we were like, it's the same fucking price. I'm just gonna sit at home in my pajamas and vibe.
Right. I might as well get wings brought to me, you know.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Portland restaurant that has like robo waiters?
I think I remember reading about it. I don't think I ever went.
Yeah, I haven't gone to it yet, but there's a restaurant here that like all of their waiting staff is just robots. And so like I think they're like pathed to like go to like specific tables, I think, or something like that. I'm
Right.
not really sure how it fucking works, but it's bizarre. The thing I don't understand though is like they gave the robots titties and ass.
Oh,
Like
that's
they gave
gross.
them it's fucking weird. It's like why you gotta give them booties?
Hi.
Hi, Shy.
Good to see you.
Hi.
Hello.
We've had 2 surprise guests today.
Who was the first
Hot damn.
Alex.
one? Yeah. Bye bye.
Hi, bye.
Bye bye. Favorite movie?
Oh, easy. Mad Max Fury Road.
I think I knew that about you.
Yeah.
I think I knew that.
I think I
about
wore
you.
that on my sleeve quite a bit during college days. I fucking love that movie so much.
Did you know his wife edited it? And I'm like, yes, Tyler.
Yes, yes. Did you know? Did you know all of it is 100 like it's like 90% practical effects and like only 10% CGI?
Yes, Tyler, I know.
Yes. God damn it. Did you know I went and saw it 14 times in the fucking theater?
That's insane.
I don't think it was that many times, but it was like at least like 7.
I ended up a movie that I ended up seeing in theaters a ton of times and never on purpose. Like I ended up seeing it a ton of times, but because like I would go and then another friend would be like, "Oh, I haven't seen it. Do you want to go?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." You know, like I enjoyed it. It was fucking Bruce Almighty.
Hell yeah. Oh, I would have loved to seen that movie in theaters.
I saw Bruce Almighty a bunch of times in theaters because everyone I kept going with just hadn't seen it yet. I was like,
so good.
of course I will. It's
Of course I
fantastic.
fucking will. This movie's amazing.
It's a great movie. Oh
I
man.
like anal dwelling butt monkey.
Yeah. Oh man. Favorite movie of all time? That's tough.
Right?
Nostalgia's sake wants me to say like The Last Unicorn, but I know
Yeah.
that movie sucks and I love it.
I don't think it sucks.
it kind of sucks.
It's kind of cheesy, but I mean, it's whatever. It's an animated film.
They like, you could tell like some people were like in it for the paycheck.
Oh yeah.
Jeff
That's
Bridges
true.
especially.
Oh god.
Father, no. Like it's
Father, father, no.
Not even, no, it is like read directly off the paper. I feel like you can hear the paper like in the mic. like you can like hear it.
It's like fumbling.
Father, no.
Father, no.
Ugh.
You ever see that? This is a weird random fucking thing. You ever see that video where it's just like a dude and his dog on like a boat or like a paddle board and then, like and the dude's just like, or it's like a voiceover, somebody's just like, "Oh, it's a good day for me and my dog," or whatever, and the dude accidentally kind of like fumbles on the thing and then the dog goes like, "Father, no," or "Father, help," and he like goes off. So stupid. I have that video in my head though all the time.
Oh man, I can't.
Still
I'll just say Last Unicorn for like my own, like before I like go down the deep rabbit hole, because I'm like, oh, like the horror movies, like there's so many good horror movies out there.
Yeah.
But then like I probably wouldn't go with the horror movie as my first choice.
Well, what's your current like favorite genre movie? What's your like go-to?
I'm trying to think of the last movie I saw in theaters. Oh, I saw Anyone But You on a date. That was okay.
It was fine. I was waiting
So-
for it. I was like, and how was it?
It was fine. Sydney Sweeney looks nice, but she's just kind of like nice to look at.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm like, you are pretty. Golly, you are pretty. And that's
Golly.
about it. I did. Oh, you know what? I really liked the menu.
Ah,
And
the menu was good.
and I will take my full marks for Anya Taylor-Joy being my exact type. But like an alternative woman? Weird.
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 Strange.
Trav's into that?
What?
Odd.
Hmm.
Yeah, I watched that fairly recently and was like, this is good. This is really good. And then it's funny because then I was just talking about a cheeseburger earlier.
Oh my god, you're so fucking right. Holy shit, I just now thought about that. Oh, the menu was good.
The menu is great. Current favorite song. What's up, Raiders, by the way? My name is Travis. This is Tyler. We are doing the Q&A section of our little bit of our TravTalks episode earlier. It's Q&A. It can be anything related to what we were talking about, what we weren't talking about, anything like that. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I get to bed, Kale.
Yes.
Get to bed. Gotta work. Get to bed.
Hi, Kale. Bye, Kale. Sleep well, Kale. Current favorite song.
Favorite
though.
song. Well, the I Don't Know How, But They Found Me album came out today, so I'm probably going to be listening to that for a good week or so.
That's a good.
Well, it came out about 2 hours ago.
Fair. Current favorite song. I'm going through definitely like my re-emergence of the emo pop punk phase.
Oh yeah, who's the go-to right now?
Go to. I mean, I found a couple playlists on Spotify that were just kind of randomly ones in there, but go to.
I got hella Rex for that.
Yeah. Crush by Paramore has been on rotation.
Paramore's fantastic, of course.
Welcome to the Black Parade has been really, really hitting up there as well, which is just a classic. Yeah. I'm also like been listening to like a few newer pop punk artists and stuff. There's oh god, what are their names? Against the Current, I want to say.
Yeah. Against the Current.
Yeah, I've been listening to them because they popped up on the playlist too. So it was like a playlist of like kind of a mix of new and old, essentially. So I've been following them. I found a person who like remade the song 1985 by Bowling for Soup, but they made it like in a modern age, and it's called like 2002. Yeah, which I think is just funny. I think it's cute.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, hold on. I have Spotify right in front of me. 1 second. Let's go to that home page. I'll admit that I fell right into the Hazbin Hotel soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I had a stream a couple days ago where somebody hopped in there and was like going off about Hazbin Hotel, and I haven't watched it yet, so don't spoil it for me or anything like that. But he was just like, you need to like. I was just listening to random music, and he was like, "Oh, can I request a couple songs?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And he had me listen to a couple Hazbin Hotel songs, and I was like, "I fucking need to watch this show like yesterday."
Yeah, so they're really short. They're like 23-minute episodes, and there's only like 8 of them. And like it is there. I have a problem with musicals that are too musically, if that makes sense. So like
too much music in it, or
no.
like too much of like showy.
When it feels like show tunes.
That makes sense.
When it's like, we wrote this in 10 seconds because it's a show tune and it needs it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, yeah.
Yes, but
we could okay, like it's just it feels too musically, but they did a good mix. Most of them. There's still a couple pretty musically songs in it, but there's some songs in there that are like, there's the one that's like with oh shit, what's the guy's name? Living Tombstone like helped write it, and it's like this like cool like bop that's kind of like retro wavy, and like another one that has like actual like guitar solo in it, and like it's cool.
Yeah.
So they did a good job, and then of course they just threw like hella like electro jazz at you, and people are like, what is this brand new thing? And I'm like, it's not brand new, but
not a brand new thing.
It slaps. So
Electro jazz, yo.
Um,
That's what I get in Persona 5.
you get a lot of it. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's like people have told me that actually too. They're like, Persona 5 is like one of your favorite games of all time. Like,
Mhm.
you need to watch the show because it's like infused with that music and that style.
Oh yeah.
Like just injected straight into the veins of it. And I'm just like, okay, I'll get around to it. I'm really bad with watching shows. Like, I'm so terrible.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's quick, man. And like I said, I think there's 8 or 9 episodes tops. You can knock it out in a night, you know.
Yeah, probably. I probably should.
And then I went on a Struts kick for a hot minute recently.
Oh, okay.
On the Struts, they put out an album last year called Pretty Vicious, and I was like, I didn't quite give that album the time that it needed.
That's fair. I've been playing Alan Wake, and after you told me about Poets of the Fall being the actual name of the band,
you're welcome.
I've definitely fallen into that as well. I've been listening to so much Carnival of Rust. It's fucking so good.
It's great. It's fantastic. Yeah, they're very good. I was trying to think of the one that I really like of theirs. I think it's called War.
That would make sense. War is a really good song too.
I'll just pull it up. Hang on. It's I wrote Fall first, and then Fall Out Boy came up, and I was like, oh well.
FOB.
I do love me some Fall Out Boy. I saw them with Bring Me the Horizon when they came around.
Hell yeah, that's a fucking good lineup.
You could not tell what people were there for.
Not at all.
People were like,
are you here for FOB, or are you here for the Bring Me the Horizon? Which one is it?
Yeah, some people couldn't stand it. They were like, she's like screaming, you know? And I'm like, you didn't look them up at all, huh?
Nope. Meanwhile, fucking that same stream where I was just like kind of listening to whatever music, I was listening to a lot of pop punk and just reminiscing about the days of Warp Tour, like constantly. And I'm just like, oh, miss Warp Tour.
Oh my gosh, don't you ever? Like, I've constantly think about Warp Tour.
I really want to go, like, the When We Were Young tour, which everybody apparently thought was a scam at first or something like that, but it's
because
like
it gave Fire Festival vibes.
Yeah, it really did.
So everyone was like, "Ooh, I don't know."
Yeah,
I don't know. But like then a lot of bands like started like confirming, and they were like, "We'll be there." So
we're gonna be there. Yeah,
like legitimately. Whereas like even Blink-182 for Fire Festival was like, we
didn't agree to this.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
Like, was that a Mark call or a Travis call? I don't know. Small fun fact: I met Mark Hoppus at Disneyland.
Oh shit!
Yeah, we ran into him in a coffee line.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
He's just like me.
He was so nice, dude. He's such a nice guy.
I feel like they probably are.
We were like, oh my god, like big fan, not trying to ruin your vacation. He's like, nah, man, I know I'm here, you know.
I know I'm here. That's the best way to respond to that. If you're like a super famous person, just be like, I know I'm here.
He's like, I know I'm here, but luckily I kind of look like most white dads. And I was like, well, that's fair. That's fair.
That is very fair.
We like asked to like take pictures and stuff like that, and he was like, yeah, of course, get in here, take pictures. And his son like called him, and he was like, guys, I'm so sorry, my son's calling. And we were like, you can tell us to fuck off, man.
Yeah, you got to talk to your kid. Go tell us to beat right off.
Yeah, you can go tell us to jump in the harbor. Like, it was always so funny. If you're into that, like, if that kind of old school pop punk right now, like, I'd recommend, you know, you got to go with some Jimmy Eat World.
Oh yeah, classic. A little bit of Bleed American. Such a good album. Such a good fucking album.
I'll die on the defending Jimmy Eat World because I don't feel like they've ever put out like a bad album.
True.
I feel like every album is like a B- or more.
Yeah, there's always at least like a good small handful of songs on each album that's just like, yeah, I can dig those as well.
Yeah, they're so good live. They're so good live.
Oh, I bet. See, that's one of the problems. Like, I've grown up in Oregon, and Oregon is a dry spell when it comes to concerts.
There's not enough venues.
Not enough venues, and just not a lot of people really want to come here because it's just like, well, they'll go to LA, they'll go to San Fran, and then they want to go to Seattle. There's not really an in between there,
right?
And like Portland is like becoming bigger and like started getting a lot bigger as I was growing up here, but it's like still artists and stuff like that. Unless you're like super mega famous, they don't want to come to Portland because it's too tiny.
And there's a lack of venues.
Yeah,
like
that's what I loved about Warped Tour so much, because it's like they always either started in Portland or ended in Portland.
Yeah,
which was great. I fucking loved having those being like, it's fucking day one of Warped Tour, let's fucking go 1, 2, 3, 4, or it's the last day of Warped Tour, let's fucking go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's always the same, but it's like,
yeah. There was one of the last Warped Tours. I think it was the second to last one that we went to in Portland. It was the last day, and that day specifically was like 100 degrees.
Oh god.
And at this point we're like adults, and it was just like, let's do this, man.
I actually fucking like got super like heat sick from Warped Tour, because it was like, I think it was like 100-degree day that time too, because I think it was like mid-August, which is typically the hottest here in Oregon.
It is.
And there was definitely, I think it was like ADTR, A Day to Remember, that was playing, and there was so much dust getting kicked up because the whole field was just dead grass and and dirt, that I was getting heat sick so bad. I went to like one of the porta potties and I like blew some snot phlegm out, and it was just dirt. It was just like black, and I was like sitting there chugging water in like the porta potty, just like one hand up, just being like, I am not having a good time anymore. This is awful. I want to go home, but I couldn't. I was just like, I'm gonna figure out how to fix my shit.
I have never seen A Day to Remember headlining. I've always seen them supporting or like second to headliner or anything like that, but I've seen it like 9 times.
Yeah, that is actually kind of crazy. I guess, yeah. Do you really consider any band headlining when they're at Warped Tour? Unless, I guess, if they're like on the main stage.
It's usually if they're on the main stage and they're like the last acts of the night. So like when like Bring Me the Horizon just put out like Sempiternal, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Which like obviously, when I think like Icy Stars did it one year, and like
when Asking Alexandria released
Issues
of
Mice and Men. I remember going once and The Used was were a headliner.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was incredible.
I really wish I was like old enough to go to Warped Tour when it was like the ska days of Warped Tour, where it was just
Real
like
Big Fish was on like every Warped Tour.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like as like huge when I was like growing up and going to Warped Tour. It became more of like the post-hardcore metal scene.
That's
so
fair.
there was less ska.
The really early days
you could
of
definitely
Warped Tour. Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely go find it pretty much anywhere at any of them, but it's like,
yeah, like Katy Perry was on Warped Tour.
Fuck, I forgot about that. I forgot that Katy Perry was on it once.
Yeah, Katy Perry, Watsky. I saw Watsky on Warped Tour.
Shit. That's good shit.
We'll take this last question here from Alex. Oh, Ty, do you want to take a moment to defend yourself for the 3 shitty dates I always shit on you about?
Listen, I agree that they are 3 shitty dates. They were really bad. I'm not denying the validity of said shit on dates.
Okay.
But I will justify and say that I was going through a lot of mental stuff at the time.
Sure.
There was definitely a point of when I was doing my major dating in college, where I always constantly had the thought in the back of my head. I was just like, I don't really think I should be dating right now, kind of a thing.
Sure.
Yeah. a lot of that came with what was going on in my love life as well.
Mhm.
I married way too early in my days. I think I was 18 when I got married to somebody.
18?
Yeah.
What, you not remember? What the heck?
No, I couldn't remember if I was like just 18 or if I was a little bit into 18 or if I was 19. Because it was like somewhere along those like that general time frame where
It's
things
still
are
too young, but yes, I hear you.
still very young, and it was also to a person that who I think I'd only dated for like a few months at the time. I kind of essentially got forced into the marriage
Mhm.
a little bit. To like summarize it, essentially, she wanted to get emancipated from her like shitty mom who was abusive. So her and a few of her friends and some of my friends as well like thought of the idea of like, okay, how do we get her out of the household? How do
Checks
we get
out,
her
yeah.
out of this situation? And one of the things they came up with is legal emancipation. So as the person who was actively dating her at the time, they were like, you should do this, essentially. Like, sort of like, I remember vividly actually getting off of work. I'm still in a full like pizza person outfit or whatever. I'm like, because I used to work at a pizzeria.
Oh,
And
yeah?
I go into the car because they were picking me up from work, and they were like, hey, you should do this. We're gonna go do this. If you don't do it, we're gonna have her marry like one of my friends or one of her friends or something like that. And
Right,
not
but-
like in a sense of like they're gonna like go and be together. It was just like
Right.
we're gonna do this for paper or whatever. And I was like, as an 18-year-old fresh out of high school and shit like that, I was like, okay, well I love you, so I guess I'll do this or whatever.
Yeah.
And we tried to make it work for quite a while, and we thought it was going to be like the thing that we wanted to, like we moved in together, got apartments together,
Right.
and whatnot. And eventually I finally realized that she was just manipulating me for a lot of things. She was a very, very manipulative individual, and only really like had it out for herself, essentially. And like,
Bummer. Yeah.
the means to an end of me like getting married, like we tried to make it work, but it didn't at the same time. And she realized it's like, okay, well, I'm the only one that matters to me, essentially. She didn't outright say that, but you can definitely tell.
Gotcha.
One of the last things that like happened before we fully like split being together was I remember she was like, oh, I really want to just like take a break from all of this, from you and everything like that. So I ended up like sleeping in the living room, and she was sleeping out in like the regular bedroom. And I realized, reflecting on it back now, that it was just because she wanted to like be with other people. And like, I don't know if it was necessarily like a polyamory thing, because I think she still had like some sort of like deep connection, love for us and the things that we had done in like our relationship.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I think at the same time it was just her just being like, I want to just like go sleep around, essentially. And like, you're here supporting me financially, paying for the apartment, so I
Right.
can't necessarily leave.
Yeah.
And I remember I kind of made that realization partway through it, and I was like, I am not happy here. I am gonna leave.
Right.
And I was like, I am getting out of this situation. I'm being manipulated by you. By everything that I do is like towards working on us, because she was always just like, we're just not good right now, and it's like all your fault, and you need to kind of work on us to like fix us.
Oh. Okay.
So it was just like she wanted to take that break, and that's how she like kind of phrased it, was just like, it's not working because you're not doing enough. So
That
I
sounds
tried to
pretty
live
manipulative. Yeah.
yeah, I tried to live like that for a little while and like supporting her, and then I finally just kind of made that realization. I was like, no, you're just doing this for you. It's not because I'm doing nothing, because it's like I'm doing a lot for the relationship. I'm trying to make it work.
Right.
And when I realized it wasn't working, I ended up and leaving, and moved up to Portland and everything like that. So that's how I kind of did that whole journey up there.
Nice.
And funny enough, we had tried like, well, we didn't try. We basically made an agreement like for financial reasons, we will say that we're still legally married because you're in school and I'm in school, and the FAFSA and the federal government will give us all the money,
Right.
If we're still legally emancipated and we can't be claimed as dependents, essentially.
Right.
On everybody. So we agreed to stay legally married for a while. And when Alex and I first started dating, and I tried to date in college and everything like that, that is when the divorce actually finally started coming through, because we're like, we are done with school, we don't need the money anymore. We're getting to that point where they wouldn't even be using our like dependent, or like being labeled as a dependent on anybody else's taxes. So we're like, let's finally go through this. So I had to have a lot of like really unfortunate like conversations during that time with her, and it just kind of made me question being like, do I even know what love is and what I'm looking for in a relationship? Do I really know kind of how I feel about dating at all? And unfortunately, those are during the times of those 3 shitty dates. Hence me being like, I don't know if I really want this whole dating thing. I really like you as a friend. I don't know what to do. I'm super awkward about this. I'm gonna give you a bro hug on the side.
I think you're hot, but ooh, I don't know.
I think you're hot, but I just can't. I can't do this whole being emotionally vulnerable dating thing and being open with somebody, because I just had to like close a chapter in my life that, frankly, it's still hard to open sometimes. It's like you can open up a window every once in a while, but the door is still a little closed.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't know, Alex. That sounds like a solid defense. Sounds like a solid defense. Granted, shitty dates were still shitty dates, but like they
were still shitty dates.
Yeah, well, I mean, y'all heard my date story from fucking Monday, so.
Oh God! Oh my God! Oh, that date story. That fucking threw me through a loop.
He threw you through a loop.
Just hearing about it. Thank you for the hydrate.
Got you. Yeah, it was ridiculous. But anyway, it was funny because then AG was just like, well, is no date better than, or is a shitty date better than no date? And I was like, well,
I guess we had that like initial foundation, but I mean, Alex and I were like friends before
y'all
we
worked
started
out
dating.
great.
Yeah. We were friends long before we started dating, and like actually hung out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like outside of like just being in like a dating situation, it was just like we're just hanging out and shit like that. And I think it worked out pretty well. I don't know if Alex will agree, but I think it worked out pretty great.
I would say it worked out great. Say it worked out great. Well, I want to say a big thank you for you being here, man. This was fun.
Thank you so much for having me, honestly.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And I know, like I said before, like if y'all ever feel like coming down this way, like this is a futon, so it can definitely
hell yeah
fit both of y'all. And I will only make fun of your CPAP a little bit.
It doesn't make that much noise.
No, I'm just gonna make fun of it.
Oh, that's fair. Look at this fucker with a clown nose. It does look like a clown nose. It's got like a fucking big old thing on my nose.
Right. That's because the case of shifts. Yeah, no, yeah, thanks for the insight. I like the idea of like the season / like year of something, because you're not like very like it allows growth while not locking you into a thing.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest for anybody who's like interested in learning about it, or even just like trying it out for yourself. Maybe even trying it out just for a season. I would recommend checking out that CPG Gray video. He goes into such good detail exactly
I'll post it really quick.
Yeah, do it. He goes into so much good detail about what a yearly theme is, and he does kind of break it down as well. It's like you can do a seasonal theme, or you can do a summer theme or just like even just like a month theme or anything like that, to make it a little bit more approachable for anybody. I would highly recommend it though. It's a nice way to essentially think on your year and just kind of give yourself a guiding principle for your entire year or for the season or for the month or anything.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. I think the idea of a season is or a year, because you can do whatever you'd like, but it's very, I like the idea of just not locking yourself into a thing, because that creates like pressure that's undue and all that kind of stuff.
Growth, you can grow under pressure, but at the same time you need to let yourself be free and
No
let
doubt.
yourself have flexibility too.
No doubt at all, man. And it's very, I don't know, I like that idea of being just different enough. And then the talks about like the steps, the gratitude in each piece from in content creation.
Yeah,
it's very, very important.
Very important.
That's Tyler's Linktree.
That's me.
That's Tyler's Linktree, and you can find all of his socials right there. And that's a shout out in case you want to just do that quick follow right there. Again, man, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm really glad that I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was going into this. Once things started loosen up, it was like, hey, we're just chatting.
I feel I admittedly I'll toot my own horn just a little bit, like I will. I like to say I provide that atmosphere of this. This is not a heavy thing that needs to happen. This can just be a thing.
It could just be a thing. No, please toot your own horn. It's very healthy to do.
I'll give myself a note. I'll give myself like a C.
Give yourself a little like a little honk.
Exactly. All right. Do you have someone that we should raid? I have a whole list, but if you have somebody that you'd like us to raid, we will send them.
Let's see who is a streaming tonight.
Yeah.
We can do a friend of the stream, of my stream. His name is Yada Moose. I'll just post it in the chat.
All right, Yada Moose. Like, will you do the fandango?
Will you do the fandango? Scaramouche. Yada is always streaming late into the night. He's playing Helldivers 2 right now.
Oh, shoot. Starship Troopers.
The game looks really, really fun. It's just I don't have $40 to spend on a game.
Dude, I get paid tomorrow, but I don't know when I get paid tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
I was like, oh, please, like...
Give me my money. I would love it.
I have like auto pay.
Food.
Auto pays keep coming out, and I'm like, stop.
No.
Don't stop.
I needed.
No, I know I need the internet, but like, stop.
God, I used to hate auto pay back in the day when I was like living almost like paycheck to paycheck. But auto pay is such a godsend nowadays. I don't have to worry about things.
Right. It is 100% like a thing. I just was like, oh fuck,
because I'll forget about a fucking bill.
I do.
And it'll be like, why is my electricity off?
I do it every time when they're under my name. I forget.
Yeah.
So like the auto pay is super helpful. And then I just have it set up to where like it notifies me when it gets taken out, so I remember. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not just like going ham on my card that day, you know?
Be like, right, I gotta buy so many things today. I'm gonna get drunk as well. Gonna buy all the alcohol.
And then it's like, oh no, I'm not.
Never mind. Rent came out today.
Oof. No, Shy's in charge of rent. She's very good about that.
Fair.
She's very good about that. Let me plug myself a little bit here. There's my socials: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm not calling it X. Fuck you, Elon.
Fucking bastard.
For real.
Plug that hole.
And then we got the Discord in case you're not a socials person, of course. Tyler's in there, I'm just saying. You can chat us both up.
That's like basically worth it right there.
I would say so. And then the last piece is the YouTube is right there. This video will go up on YouTube in like a week or so. I'll plug and we're like 6 subscribers away from 200, so I would love it if we get there. Love it if we could get there. So,
get him there.
and YouTube loves to remind me with emails like almost at 200, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
Oh, that's fucked up, YouTube. God damn it, YouTube.
Well,
What the
they're
hell?
kind of like, they're like encouraging. They're like, post more and you'll get more chances and blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, I get what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I understand YouTube, but like stop.
But
It's
like,
not good
you're,
for me.
You're honestly hurting my feelings at this point.
God damn it.
All right, we're raiding into Yada Moose, doing a little bit of Helldivers too. I mean, this game, it looks cool as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
I want it so bad. It looks fantastic because it does look like Starship Troopers.
I worry that it's gonna
Well,
it's gonna be a trend game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Diablo 4 came out and everyone was playing Diablo, and then just like boom,
And then
Baldur's
it
Gate came out and
dies.
everybody's playing Baldur's Gate, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it is like,
They're waiting for the next thing.
yeah. So I'm like, if it goes on sale, I could throw a couple bucks at it.
I wonder what the next thing would actually even be.
That's coming out.
Yeah, what's after this?
Didn't Mario versus Donkey Kong just come out? Duh. Anyway.
Oh, shit.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for being here.
Have a good night,
Mwah.
everybody.
Bye,
Much
y'all.
love.
Bye.